I have a planetary system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251, Server Alliance Mechanism. The content of the following chat was basically Cui Yingjing asking Liang Ting and BG William for advice on the development experience of the Korean server. After all, there were two authoritative mentors in front of him, and Cui Yingjing had just taken over the command of the Korean server. BG William said, "This game has many different ways to play, and it is very close to reality, so relying on fighting with other regions to achieve the goal of expansion is not the only way." Cui Yingjing asked, "Please give me some advice." BG William smiled and said, "I also have a vague understanding of this aspect. This kind of question should be answered by the commander of the Chinese server. I also want to hear how the Chinese server developed its own server so quickly." BG William's words were obviously deliberately complimenting Liang Ting. After all, the Chinese server did not get any benefits in this campaign except for the first transfer to the 4th position. The East China Sea region was included in the European server, and even the transfer of the Dragon Palace Sea area in the East China Sea could be transferred to all servers. BG William was obviously a little sorry. Liang Ting showed an awkward expression after hearing this topic, and whimpered, "This? Haha, actually, it's nothing, it's just." Liang Ting's sudden weirdness made BG William and Cui Yingjing feel strange. The character of the commander of the Chinese server is not like this. He was very fierce when he was arguing with people just now. Could it be that he is unwilling to share? No, the characters of the players of the Chinese server are all very generous. What's wrong with this? Suddenly, the system issued a notice for the whole server. The Sea of Corpses is included in the regional map of the Chinese server, and the Chinese server and the Russian server form an alliance. The server alliance mechanism is turned on, and the regional transmission and sharing between the allied servers. This sudden news not only made the players of other servers explode, but also Liang Ting was confused. No, what does it mean to make a system announcement directly? Question mark? Although this kind of thing cannot be concealed, you, the dog official, at least wait until I go back before notifying me. You are making me very embarrassed now. All servers could not accept this sudden news. What the hell? The Chinese server has formed an alliance with the Russian server? Didn't you agree to compete fairly with our American server? But you ended up secretly hooking up with some rich guy? You're just eating away the gigolo? I fucking thought the Chinese server was so loyal, but it turns out we're the clowns. Good guy, one thing on the surface and another behind the scenes. You're fooling us to death. I envy the Russian server. With the Chinese server as a backer, the Japanese, Korean and Southeast Asian servers are expected to be overtaken. The players in the Chinese server burst into laughter after being stunned. Wow, they just stole the base. I told you, when has our Chinese server ever suffered a loss in a business deal? The commander of our server is simply a brave general who is good at expanding territory. A one-day sightseeing tour on the Russian server is starting. Watch your sister. I'm in negative assets because of my job change, and now I have to work to pay off my debts. In the Korean server's Hwangxing City conference room, BG William said to Liang Ting with a sullen face, "What a trick. You've really played a trick on me this time." Cui Yingjing followed up, "I didn't expect that the commander of the Chinese server would give a standard answer as soon as the question was raised. I admire you." Liang Ting was too embarrassed to stay there any longer. After all, she was just a young girl, and it was too embarrassing to be looked at strangely by two grown men. For the development of the server, please understand. Well, if there is nothing else, I will go back first. I'm going to cook soup at home. I will go back and turn off the fire. Without waiting for the two to stop her, Liang Ting activated the return to the city directly. Under the gnashing gaze of BG William and Cui Yingjing, Liang Ting's figure gradually disappeared. This game is really played by the Chinese server. At least what she said is right. For the development of the server, BG William and Cui Yingjing looked at each other and saw the word alliance in each other's eyes. After Liang Ting returned to Jiushan Zuandu, she found that many Russian server players appeared in the main city. As soon as the alliance was established, a large number of Russian server players were teleported to various regions of the Chinese server. They really wanted to know what the Chinese server, as the first server, looked like. You don't know until you see it. You will be stunned when you see it. Compared with the poorer resources of the Russian server, the Chinese server has a huge amount of resources, and the creatures in the jurisdiction are countless. The trade between the allied races is extremely mature. Groups of creatures of various races can be seen everywhere in Jiushan Zuandu. There is no mistake in the song, post, content, and read it in the 6 to 9 book bar. The Russian server has the most teleportation areas, which is undoubtedly the underworld area. There is no other reason. Just relying on the 18th level Hell copy, leaving aside the Shura Tower copy on Zuanwu Island, the Chinese server now holds the only copy resource in the game. For this copy, that can provide a large amount of experience and soul value, the Russian server simply regards it as a treasure. The curves of the opposite sex are not as attractive as this. For this alliance mechanism, Bai Bing felt that one server should not be allowed to dominate, so it was set that each server can only have one alliance server. That is to say, there can only be 3 alliances among the 7 servers, and the last server can only sing, dance, rap and play basketball alone. Not long after the Chinese server and the Russian server formed an alliance, the system announced again, the European server and the Korean server have formed an alliance. This simple sentence made the remaining Japanese servers, Southeast Asian servers, and American servers anxious. The premise of the alliance can only be achieved in the main city of one of the two parties. The location of the main city of the Japanese server is not known only by the Chinese server. Even if other servers know it, it is useless. After all, it is on the sea. In addition to the Chinese server's sailing strength, other servers need to spend a lot of soul points to set foot on it, and there are so many unknown seas and creatures on the way. The location of the Southeast Asian server and the American server has not been discovered yet, but even if it is discovered, it is useless. Now the Chinese server with the 4th level profession is no longer favored. After Liang Ting returned to Jiushan Zuandu, she immediately organized a 21-man team of great gods. There were as many as 5 4th level UIAO professions in the team. They claimed to the outside world that they planned to set foot in the Russian server area to see the fruits of their labor. In fact, 21 Chinese server players were directly teleported to the Chiang area. Appearing near the Fengming Tower in the Chiang area, all the players in the team immediately ran at full speed towards the Keishi area in the south. The 5 4th level UIAO players did not spare any effort to directly cross the team and rush to the front. Yi Jian, Zhao Yu, and Nang Jun, who had been on a mission to Russia as diplomats, had already entered the colored stone area, waiting for Liang Ting's troops to arrive. The 21 Chinese players, plus these 3, formed a full force of 24. As for Fiang and Zuhan, they were frightened by the terrifying aura in the colored stone area the moment they set foot in it. The fact that the 2 late-stage Holy Spirit creatures were so frightened confirmed what Liang Ting was thinking. Chapter 252, Six-Eared Macaque. After meeting up with Yi Jian and the other 2, Liang Ting politely said to Fiang and Zuhan, "Thank you, seniors, for this time." Fiang and Zuhan felt that 5 more spirits of the divine realm had appeared among the human race, and they began to murmur in their hearts, "The human race and Yingyuan and Anyuan are allies. We are just helping them. What's more, we too still owe the human race friendship." Liang Ting smiled and said, "The next step will be handed over to us humans. Please do as you please, seniors." Fiang and Zuhan breathed a sigh of relief. "I don't want to stay here any longer. The atmosphere here is too terrifying." The 24 Chinese server players stepped into the colorful stone area without hesitation. The smart and beautiful environment instantly refreshed everyone. The scene in front of them can be said to be the most beautiful in the area, explored by Chinese server players so far. Pure air, surging waterfalls, clear rivers, all kinds of creatures living around, smart butterflies and birds flying in the sky, and colorful flowers growing on the ground. This is the most suitable place for living in Planet. My goodness, I think it's against the law of nature if there is a carnivorous creature here. Can there be big time creatures living here? Are you kidding? Look at those mushrooms on the ground. They are so enchanting. I want to eat them, even if they are poisonous. Liang Ting also had some self-doubt when she saw the scenery in front of her. Is this really what she thought? Is it really that she thought too much? When the diplomatic trio sent a private message to Liang Ting about the situation in the colored stone area, Liang Ting became more cautious. She had to find out about this colored stone area no matter what. Liang Ting asked the troops to be divided into 4 teams of 6 people to explore from different directions and to inform the troops of any situation in the first place through the troop channel. Liang Ting, Zhao Mu, Yi Jian, Nang Jun, Lan Zifeng, and Yi Yang formed a team of 6 people and marched step by step towards the interior of the colored stone area. Just as the player began to explore the colored stone area, a figure in linen clothes opened his eyes beside a river in the colored stone area, turned calmly to the north, which was the direction where the player was, and said to himself, "Human race, I didn't expect to find this place so quickly." Then he turned back and closed his eyes as if nothing had happened, but his hairy hands were slightly clenched, as if expressing nervousness. Liang Ting and the other 6 chatted while exploring, and the topic was all about Mistwind. Zhao Mu teased, "Master Mage, Lan Zifeng, as a high-end mage in our Chinese server, you actually failed the 4th job. Are you kidding me?" Nang Jun nodded, "Yeah, have you done too many bad things and offended the dog official?" Lan Zifeng was frustrated and didn't even have the mind to get angry. "If it's really a simple failure, it's okay. At least I can continue to try to change my job next time." But when I went to change my job, the system actually prompted me that I couldn't match the Yuyao profession and couldn't change my job. I came out to ask around, and I was the only one in this situation, which directly blocked my way. This was the first time that everyone heard of this situation. They looked at each other and stopped provoking Lan Zifeng. He Yang comforted him. "It's okay, look, isn't the commander of our server still the 3rd job?" Liang Ting, "Thank you, you really know how to comfort people." Yi Jian said, "But then again, as a commander, you can't even turn 4. It's hard to convince everyone. Otherwise, you can give me the commander, and I will reluctantly help you take over." Liang Ting was speechless. "Okay, I see you are so poor. It should be difficult to raise chickens. Otherwise you give the chickens to me to take care of, and I will help you feed them reluctantly." Yi Jian stopped talking for a moment. Nang Jun did not join the chat. As a retired soldier in reality, he habitually pays attention to the surrounding environment at all times. At this time, Nang Jun suddenly said, "Have you noticed that this place is too peaceful? We have been exploring for half an hour, and we haven't encountered even a creature that actively attacks. They are all herbivorous creatures." Liang Ting nodded. "Although we players don't have the sense of breath, the 2 elders of the Shadow Kite clan and the Cold Kite clan will not lie to us. There is only one possibility for the situation here." Yi Jian answered quickly, "That terrifying creature has been sealed." Zhao Mu, "Oh, you even answered quickly, my Lord Sword Immortal." He drew his sword and was about to chop Zhao Mu. This guy was still as mean as ever. The other 4 ignored the 2 idiots. Liang Ting nodded, "I think so too. Just like the big boss Nezha in the firing area before. If you want to come out, you need certain conditions." Nang Jun agreed. "Whether it is sealed or not, we need to find out the situation of this creature. When the time comes, whether it is to make friends or fight, we will not appear passive." Suddenly, everyone heard a large number of chirping sounds above their heads. Looking up, they saw a group of little macaques curiously looking at everyone on the tree. They looked extremely cute, with golden fur and cute facial features. They were likable, no matter how they looked at them. Spiritual monkey, race, realm, none. Everyone was surprised. Creatures without realms were common, but creatures whose races were not displayed were the first to be encountered. Not only Liang Ting's team encountered these spirit monkeys, but the other 3 teams on the troop channel also reported that they had seen such a group of cute creatures. Just when several people didn't know how to express and communicate, a spirit monkey suddenly jumped onto Liang Ting's shoulder and scratched Liang Ting's head affectionately, apparently intending to catch lice. In addition to Nang Jun's smile, the other 4 laughed. "This little guy thinks you are dirty, so he wants to help you clean the lice. Please take a bath more often, when you have time. After all, you are the commander of our Huaxia server. You should pay more attention to your image." Haha, it's too embarrassing. I would have washed garlic. You might as well take this little guy with you. When you don't have time to take a bath, just let him clean you up. Liang Ting smiled at the 4 people. It seems that I have to consider it. Next time there is a battle, I will modify the permissions so that you can't participate. I wonder what you think? Everyone immediately shut up and just laughed. As the monkey jumped down, many monkeys on the tree jumped to the ground, jumping and chirping, pointing in the same direction. Yi Jian was surprised. They mean to lead the way for us. Zhao Mu laughed. You are so smart. If you didn't tell us, we wouldn't know they were leading the way for us. Yi Jian was so angry that he almost drew his sword. He was never Zhao Mu's opponent in quarrels. You damn bald donkey, don't force me to fight. Zhao Mu was unmoved. It's okay, go ahead. I'll ask Zyra to say more good things about you to Long Kui later. You know, they have a good relationship. Yi Jian gritted his teeth and dared not talk back. If there was one person Yi Jian was most afraid of, it was Long Kui. Everyone followed the monkeys and moved forward. Although this group of monkeys had no realm, their speed was not slow. They crossed the forest in a very short time. The monkeys stopped at the border between the forest and the grassland, constantly pointing forward, but they refused to take another step. Everyone looked forward curiously and saw a spectacular waterfall rushing down, the water flow hitting the lake below, and the water splashed continuously. Various creatures gathered by the lake and were drinking the water in the lake. The most conspicuous one among the many creatures was a macaque wearing a linen robe, with his back to the crowd, covered with grey fur, and with 6 ears on his head. 6-eared macaque, for divine monkeys, realm? Question mark? Chapter 253, The Quarrel Between Shiji and Liu. After seeing the identity of the hemp-clothed macaque, everyone took a step back. Haha, realm? That's too much. Now the level can even be recognized by the peak of Shengming. You put a string of question marks in front of us. Are you trying to persuade us to retreat? The 6-eared macaque saw the human race appear in the distance, stood up and looked at the waterfall, then stared at the 6 human race people. The atmosphere was very tense for a while. However, the next second, a yak growled behind the 6-eared macaque. The 6-eared macaque hurriedly made way and subconsciously said, sorry, I'm in your way. The yak jumped over the 6-eared macaque and came to the lake to drink water. 6 people. You are so polite. A big man with a realm question mark. You graduated with a doctorate, right? Then the 6-eared macaque continued to stare at the human race, as if nothing had happened. But if you look closely, it is not difficult to find that the 6-eared macaque's hands are now trembling slightly, and there are 2 drops of sweat on his forehead under the hemp hat. In fact, the 6-eared macaque is very nervous. If a fight really breaks out, he is no match for the group of human race in front of him. According to legend, the 6-eared macaque is good at listening, can observe reason, know the past and the future, and understand everything. Almost nothing can be hidden from the 6-eared macaque's insight, but this supernatural skill has an unknown price, that is, the realm reset. Every time it is insightful, the realm will change randomly. For countless years, the realm of the 6-eared macaque has been randomly changing. When the realm is the lowest, it is only the strength of a medium-level creature. When the realm is the highest, it has also tried the realm of saintly enlightenment. There is a time limit for each reset of the realm. It can only be insightful once a year. Even if it is not insightful, the realm will be reset randomly. This makes the 6-eared macaque unable to adapt. Although the 6-eared macaque is one of the 4 divine monkeys, it is the one with the least sense of security. At this time, facing the 6 human race, the realm of the 6-eared macaque is only the early stage of the divine spirit. You don't move, I don't move, just drag it like this, hoping that you know me, be intimidated by my title, and leave obediently please. Liang Ting and everyone looked at each other, sent a coordinate on the troop channel to start shaking people, and then walked forward cautiously, alert to the 6-eared macaque's every move. When the 6-eared macaque saw a human suddenly approaching him, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. No way, you don't know me. What should I do? Exclamation mark. Should I run? Question mark. No, if I run, there will be no one watching the guy in the waterfall. Liang Ting and the 6-eared macaque were very nervous. Liangting had a conversation with the red-butted horse monkey Waziki before, and even Waziki said that he couldn't see through the six-eared macaque, and the other party must be very powerful. The six-eared macaque was nervous because he knew the details of the human race. This race that can't enter the reincarnation, and can't see through it, and is not afraid of death. It's really unreasonable to bully me. As Liangting got closer and closer to him, the six-eared macaque knew that he couldn't sit and wait for death anymore, and raised his hand to signal the human race to stop approaching. This action made both sides very nervous. Human race, this is not a place you should set foot in. Leave. The six-eared macaque pretended to be deep and said. Liangting did not dare to go forward for fear that the six-eared macaque would not follow the moral code of martial arts. Senior, the human race has no ill intentions. We only set foot here because we sensed that there were powerful creatures here. After hearing Liangting's explanation, the six-eared macaque knew that he was attracted by the guy behind the waterfall. It seems that they don't know me. Great. In this case, you humans can leave. The six-eared macaque drove the guest away directly. Liangting felt that the six-eared macaque had the possibility of communication and asked tentatively, Senior, do you know Senior Waziki? The six-eared macaque shook his head without thinking. No. Everyone. Does this old guy lie without blinking? Those 6 ears are shaking like electric fans, which has already betrayed you. Good guy, it's okay if he doesn't know me. I feel like this guy is scared. Liangting was puzzled, but aren't Senior 6 ears and Senior Waziki both 4 divine monkeys? 6-eared macaque. Liangting continued, the human race and Senior Waziki had met before. At that time, Senior Waziki also said that, if the human race met Senior Leah, they should tell him immediately. Leo Macaque was immediately numb. No, don't tell him. Liangting. But, we have already told Senior Waziki. Leo Macaque was sweating coldly. Stupid. Waziki is just a fool. You tell that brainless guy. He will definitely turn this area upside down. Liangting asked a soul-searching question. Senior Leah, are you scared? Leo Macaque almost bit his tongue, and suddenly a voice came. Yes, Leah, are you scared? Several people were stunned when they heard the sudden voice, and Leo was about to cry. He turned his head stiffly and looked behind him. A black space crack appeared, and a figure with black fur all over his body and a black little monkey sitting on his shoulders walked out of the crack. It was the red-butted horse monkey Waziki. Looking at his familiar companion, Leo Maha took a step back unconsciously and said with a stiff smile, how could it be? I'm so happy to see you. Waziki looked at this fellow who cheated in front of him and said with a gloomy face, you are still as hard for me to see through as always. I don't know what realm you have reset to this time. I want to learn from you. Leo Maha answered honestly, no need to learn from you. I'm only at the realm of gods now. If you make a move, you will kill me. Liangting and the other 6 felt cheated when they heard what Leo Maha said. You are so good at pretending. The remaining players also rushed to the scene from 3 directions. They rushed here immediately after Liangting called people. No mistakes. 1 song, 1 post, 1 content, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. Did we get fooled just now? He's at the divine realm, so if we take action we can beat him up. Good idea, we don't get the chance to beat up the 4 divine monkeys every time. Haha, you want to leave after offending the abbot? Okay, when Waziki beats him up later, our 358th regiment must help. Waziki gritted his teeth after hearing Leo's realm. Do you think I won't beat you because your realm is low? You actually lied to me. You forced me to become a fossil and hide away from the world. Leo got anxious. Can you please be reasonable? When have I ever lied to you 3 in countless years? If you hadn't been so reckless and brave, would you have been beaten so badly? Waziki growled. It was you who told me to flee towards the South China Sea. But we were attacked on the way. Leo was speechless. I told you to run to the South China Sea, but you ran to the East China Sea by yourself. Don't blame me for your poor direction. Okay players, Waziki. Liu muttered. I remind you kindly every time, but you always run around without knowing where to go. What can I say? Liu's words deeply stimulated Wazika's heart. For the first time, the players felt that the powerful four gods monkeys actually had such interesting things in private. They all sat down and showed their expressions of eating melons, and the little black monkey on Wuziki's shoulder nodded frantically, expressing strong support for Liu's words. Wuziki was angry and continued to roar, "What about Tangbi? He followed your instructions. In the end, he was different and turned into a fossil and hid from the world." Liu retorted, "If he ran normally and got something wrong, I would admit it, but that guy turned around and ran to Mishan halfway through the run. Is it my fault?" Wuziki gritted his teeth. Although Liu was an old shady guy, he would not lie to himself, and Tangbi could really do such a thing. As long as he heard the news about Yang Jian, he would definitely run to fight him as soon as possible. Yang Jian was afraid of that guy at the beginning. The players all looked at Wuziki, waiting for him to continue to fight back. The players were very happy to listen to the funny things that the four gods monkeys did in private. Wuziki's momentum obviously weakened. "What about Lingming? He is also a fossil." This time Liu did not refute, but pointed in the direction of the waterfall. "Lingming did have an accident, so all these years, I stayed here to protect him." Chapter 254, The Birth of the Spiritual Stone Monkey. The words of Liu Mihao made the players and Wuziki stunned. What the hell? The great sage is behind the waterfall? Brother Dashi? Oh my god. The idol is here. I want to see Brother Dash's big treasure. No, I want to see Brother Dash's stick. Wuziki showed a strange expression. Before, I thought this aura was you, and I almost forgot about it because of you. You can't have this kind of aura in the realm of gods. It turns out that Lingming is here. Liu really didn't wrong you. You can even forget this. You are really unreliable. Before, when we were in the cliff mouth area, I thought you were quite serious, but now you seem to be an idiot. Wuziki turned into a wisp of black mist and jumped directly into the waterfall. Liangting nodded to the 7 4th level professions around her, and the 7 people also jumped up and jumped in. Liu Mihao was unmoved when he saw the human race and Wuziki entering the waterfall. Forget it, just watch it. Anyway, the human race and Chiji know each other well, so there is no need to hide it. After the player enters the waterfall, he suddenly sees a clear view. There is only a colorful stone in the huge space, nothing else. Chiji easily jumped onto the colored stone and kept groping at it with a grin. It is indeed Lingming. Yi Jian asked, "Boss Wuziki, how long will Brother Dashi be sealed?" Wuziki grinned and said, "Sealed? No, he can come out at any time, but he just doesn't want to come out." Seeing the human race's puzzled face, Wuziki explained, "Lingming's strength is stronger than mine. Even I have been born. He can't still be a fossil. It's just that he doesn't want to come out." The players immediately asked, "Why?" Wuziki smiled evilly, "How should I know? But it doesn't matter, since I have found you. If you don't want to come out, I will force you to come out." As soon as Wuziki finished speaking, the little black fur on his shoulder immediately jumped down and hid far away. Before the players could react, Wuziki raised his hands high, and black mist burst out of his body. His hair became sharp, his face flushed, and he roared and smashed the colored stone with both hands. Liangting and the others who were still outside the waterfall, along with the six-eared macaque, suddenly heard a burst of explosions from the waterfall, followed by a burst of golden light. The six-eared macaque grinned and said to himself, "Lingming, you must see clearly. It was not me, the six-eared one, who got you out, but that stupid guy Chiji. If you have any dissatisfaction, go to him." The players looked at the six-eared one silently. "It seems that you are also an unreliable guy." The golden light dissipated, and the waterfall calmed down again. Suddenly, a scream was heard, and then Wuziki's figure flew out of the waterfall and hit the hillside not far away, creating a big pit. Then the 7 4th level players who had followed in rushed out of the waterfall and performed various diving movements, and one by one they hit the lake and splashed water. The group of monkeys who had led Liangting and others before entered the lake under the waterfall with joy, chirping and jumping, showing joyful expressions. 7 4th level players floating on the water and the players on the lakeside were staring at the waterfall in a daze. A large number of clouds suddenly emerged from the blue sky, and the thick clouds were spinning above everyone. A golden light suddenly shot from the waterfall to the sky and penetrated the clouds. A few seconds later, all the creatures on the scene saw a figure appear in the golden light. A golden macaque was standing in the air and curiously looking at the surrounding environment. It turned out that all the powerful people outside the various regions looked towards the direction of the colored stone region. This breath is the eldest brother. The great sage has finally been born. This monkey, it turns out to be above me. Oh no, that monkey has appeared. After seeing the legendary idol, the players were all curious. So handsome. It must cost a lot of money to dye this fur all golden. So embarrassing. The eldest brother is not wearing clothes. Take a screenshot. Sun Wukong, spiritual stone monkey, one of the 4 divine monkeys, realm, peak of sage. Sun Wukong flashed and appeared at the edge of the lake, and the monkeys around him immediately gathered in groups and chattered around him. Sun Wukong looked at the monkeys around him and was stunned for a moment, then smiled. Children, you are still here. Waziki rubbed his chest and walked back to stand beside Liu Mihao with a wronged look on his face. Liu Mihao held back his laughter, fearing that Chiji would suddenly beat him up. Sun Wukong stared at Waziki and Liu for a while, then looked at the human race not far away, and asked the human race, "The human race is still there. Have the void and the abyss been destroyed?" Liang Ting shook her head, replying to the great sage, "Not yet." Sun Wukong gritted his teeth. "Very good. In this way, I can get revenge." Waziki immediately shouted, "Lingming, what do you mean? Are you still planning to fight with those 2 worlds?" Sun Wukong ignored Waziki, stared at Liu and asked, "Why don't you let me come out? Do you want to extend the time of my fossilization?" Liu's 6 ears kept wagging. "Lingming, we are no match for the void and the abyss. You were almost beaten to death before. If I'll let you come out normally, you will definitely break through the realm alone and step into the void and the abyss, but I can't save you a second time." Sun Wukong grinned and growled, "My master, clan members, brothers, they were all strangled to death by them. As long as I don't die, I will definitely kill them all." Wuzaki and the players didn't know there was such an inside story. Elder Tang is dead. The dog official is so exciting. Who is the great sage's brother? I think the dog official's light butterfly will come over again, and then this monkey will stop. It's the same old plot. I think so too. The dog official is always like this. Profit? The knife. Liu persuaded. Lingming, it's not that we Jiazhao can't fight them, but if you rashly break through the realm alone, you will just die. Waziki immediately followed up. Yes. Listen to me, Lingming. As far as I know, the void and the abyss will arrive in Jiazhao soon. It won't be too late for you to settle accounts with them then. I will help you then. As long as you stay in Jiazhao. Sun Wukong looked at the human race. I only believe in the saints of your human race. As long as the saints of the human race promise me, I can wait for them to come. Liang Ting was about to speak when several space cracks suddenly appeared in the colored stone area at the same time, and many powerful people appeared around the lake at the same time. Sun Wukong looked at the familiar figures that appeared, with a joyful expression on his face. "You are all still alive." Neza walked out of the crack barefoot and said disdainfully, "You are not dead." Lu Dongbin smiled and said, "Congratulations on the birth of the great sage. RGS Zhao has a better chance of winning." ZHU Beige's eyes were red. "Big brother, I finally found you. I missed you so much." Sha Wujing touched his Mediterranean Sea with joy. "Big brother, Xitigabha, Amitabha, the emperor knew that the great sage was born, so he asked me to come and congratulate him." Waziki looked at Lingming with envy. He also wanted this kind of treatment. The 6-eared macaque shook his ears, avoiding Xitigabha Bodhisattva with a guilty conscience, and took a few steps back to escape. Xitigabha turned his head and smiled in the direction of Liu. "I have ignored you for so many years, so I will not bother you. There is no need to run away." Liu said stubbornly, "Who is running? I'm not afraid of you." When the players saw so many big guys appearing at the same time, they thought that they would make a fortune if they started a live broadcast. But when they thought about hiding it from the bastards on each server, they thought about it and gave up. Suddenly, a player muttered, "If this group of people leave a legacy, then we will be rich." Chapter 255, Saint. The players' thoughts were exactly what Bai Bing was thinking at the moment. During this period, Bai Bing had been struggling with how to make the players successfully transition to the 4th level. Apart from other servers, there were a large number of players who met the conditions for the 4th level in the Chinese server alone. After seeing so many powerful people gathering in the Keishi area at the same time, Bai Bing immediately consulted Henny Bai for his opinions. Black and white, it's possible, but the player needs to provide a large amount of soul value for the 4th transformation. Otherwise, it is difficult to succeed relying solely on the player's own soul state, unless Bai Bing, unless what? Black and white, unless we spit out some of the soul value we earned before to consolidate the souls of the players, but despite this, the success rate of the 4th transformation is still not high. Bai Bing was silent for a while, and finally made a decision. Let's do this first, and think of a way later. Black and white, okay. Bai Bing asked again, how long will it take for the void and the abyss to arrive? Black and white, I don't know, but it's coming soon. The 4th Dragon Emperor is born, and the void will definitely be able to sense it. It may be trying to break through the boundary now. Bai Bing asked, boundary? Black and white explained, each world has a boundary protection. Unless a powerful creature discovers it, it is difficult to know how many worlds exist around it. At the beginning, the void was the first world to discover Jiazhao. After breaking through the boundary and setting foot in Jiazhao, the abyss also sensed the turmoil in the boundary of the Jiazhao world and invaded it the first time. This time is estimated to be the same as before. Bai Bing, then the player's 4th transformation cannot be delayed. Henny Bai was silent for a while. There is one more thing. Bai Bing waited for Henny Bai's next words. Henny Bai continued, the strength of the void and the abyss is comparable to that of Jiazhao. Now some powerful beings in the world of creatures can sense that the human race is not the real Jiazhao creatures, but the souls of the second world. Since the powerful beings in Jiazhao can sense it, then the powerful beings in the void and the abyss. Bai Bing suddenly felt creepy. You mean, the void and the abyss can also sense the details of the human race? Henny Bai did not speak as a tacit agreement. Bai Bing immediately asked, then will they find the location of our blue star? Henny Bai was still silent, and then said, you have to be mentally prepared. In the colored stone area, Sun Wukong scratched his cheek. How many people in Jiazhao fell back then? The players did not dare to interrupt at this time. This kind of game plot insider involves the main line later. The more the players know, the better it will be for the advancement of the main line in the future. Neza shook his head. I have been sleeping for countless years. I woke up some time ago, because the 4th Dragon Emperor of the Void was born. Sun Wukong bared his teeth. The 4th Dragon Emperor is not dead yet. Neza's arrogant expression turned gloomy. Although her realm has fallen, I feel that it won't be long before she will be able to reach her peak in a short time. Sun Wukong rarely saw Neza being humiliated, so he grinned. Sha Wujing said, I was guarding a small entrance to the abyss in the Liasha River. I was only born recently, so I don't know. Zhu Beiji followed. I was sealed before, and I didn't know either. Xitagabha, Lu Dongbin, and the players all looked at Zhu Beiji, and none of them exposed this guy. He was obviously hiding and sleeping. Xitagabha Bodhisattva put his hands together and said, back then, all the disciples of the Chan sect who resisted the void died, and only 1 in 10 of the disciples of the Ji sect who resisted the abyss survived. All the human race also perished back then. Now the human race is no longer in the cycle of reincarnation. Liangting and others knew what it meant to not enter the cycle of reincarnation, but they didn't know what it meant. Sun Wukong took a look at the human race and said, what about now? Xitagabha Bodhisattva continued, now, the 4 imperial heavenly emperors are in charge of the realm, and the other great masters are guarding the entrance to the abyss. The human race needs to grow. After hearing Xitagabha Bodhisattva's words, especially Zhao Mu, who was Xitagabha Bodhisattva's disciple, felt that the following main line of the void and the abyss was extremely difficult. Zhao Mu couldn't help but say, Master, we humans can definitely defeat the void and the abyss. The great masters present all looked at Zhao Mu. Lila, as Xitagabha Bodhisattva's enemy, never missed the opportunity to discuss Xitagabha Bodhisattva. Bald Xitagabha Bodhisattva, your disciple is very confident. Xitagabha Bodhisattva looked at Leo meaningfully, smiled and said, Amitabha. As Lu Dongban's direct disciple, Yi Jian would never let Dazeng's direct disciple steal the limelight. The sword in my hand will kill all the enemies in the void and the abyss one by one. Lu Dongban said with a smile. Excuse me, everyone. This kid is my direct disciple. Liu said. He is courageous. He is indeed worthy of being Chunayang's direct disciple. Everyone. At this time, Nongjian said in a deep voice, the human race is not afraid of any enemy. Those who offend us will be punished, even if they are far away. Sha Wujing suddenly felt proud and laughed. This is my direct disciple. No mistake. One poem, one post, one content, one book, one bar. Liu. Sure enough, he is just like Luohan. Calm and majestic. Everyone, you are such a double standard dog. Nessa couldn't help but said, Bodhisattva, if you are too embarrassed to do it, I can help you. Liu was immediately displeased. Third prince. I helped you before. Don't repay kindness with enmity. Nessa made a TSK sound, and then fell silent. Sun Wukong said to Dizeng, Bodhisattva, tell me the entrance to the abyss. Waziki had been silent all this time, but after hearing what Sun Wukong said, he immediately interrupted. Lingming, you're still here, right? Don't force me to tie you up. It can be seen that the relationship between the red-butted horse monkey and the Lingming stone monkey is really good, and they are always on guard against Sun Wukong's death. Just when Dizeng was about to reject Sun Wukong, a light butterfly suddenly floated in the sky. When the players saw the light butterfly, they were immediately excited. Here it comes. The official dog is coming with the main storyline. Here we go. I hope the official will be more powerful this time. The happiness of our players' fourth job depends on this time. Fuck you. You're so stupid. Why can you send a voice message? I don't know what you are so excited about. Do you have soul points for the fourth job? As a direct disciple, I really envy you for being able to spend soul points to change jobs through your own efforts, unlike us, who can even change jobs so easily. We almost did it. As a fourth job UIAO professional, we can only wish you a smooth road in the future. Versailles. Fuck. The powerful people in the Keishi area also noticed the light butterfly, but unlike before, the light butterfly stopped in the air and did not float down again. Under the stunned gaze of the players and the powerful people, the light butterfly emitted a soft light and turned into a human-shaped light and shadow. The players didn't know why the official dog used this image this time, but the powerful people froze when they saw the light and shadow. Even the three most unruly monkeys present were stunned and stared at the scene in front of them. For countless years, the saint of the human religion has disappeared in Jiazhou. It was right in front of them. The next second, the players present saw the powerful men in front of them salute at the same time. Saint. Chapter 256. Fourth Transformation Inheritance. It was also the first time for the players to see the dog official appear in this form. The bold Yi Jian shouted to the light and shadow, Dog official, give us some benefits. Then the players shouted, yes. When will you come up with the Krypton Gold interface? I'm so poor. When is the next event? How to do the fourth level? Give me a definite answer. Dog official, explain why I can't do the fourth level. I'm obviously a mage. All kinds of questions were asked directly to the light and shadow. It was rare that the game official was in front of him, so when would he ask questions? However, seeing that the human race was so brave to the saint, taught by their own people, the powerful people present were stunned, especially Xitigaba, Lu Dongban and Sha Wujing. Seeing that their own disciples were so rude to the saint, they were all numb. If you want to die, don't take me with you. Guangying, Bai Bing, was just emitting a faint light, but no facial features could be seen. He was used to the players' rudeness and ignored them. He turned his head to look at the creatures present, and spoke a series of crisp sounds that reached their ears. The players saw that the big guys were serious, but they could not hear any sound. Encrypted call? You are defending your own people. Too stupid. Fuck, come on, stick your head over here, I will give you some blessings. Performing a pantomime here, the big guys present bowed to Guangying and said, I obey the law. The next second, all players in Planet received a system announcement. New 4th level job Howling Ape. This job only matches melee jobs. Players can go to the Yakao area to find the inheritance of the red-butted horse monkey Waziki. The job change requires a certain amount of soul value, and the job change success rate is not 100%. Added a new 4th level job, golden pig. This job only matches frontline jobs. Players can go to the colored stone area to find ZHU Bage's inheritance. Job transfer requires a certain amount of soul value, and the job transfer success rate is not 100%. Added a new 4th level job, angry monk. This job only matches frontline and auxiliary melee jobs. Players can go to the Zhang area to find Sha Wujing's inheritance. Job transfer requires a certain amount of soul value, and the job transfer success rate is not 100%. Added a new 4th level job, Yang Fire. This job only matches the mage job. Players can go to the firing area to find Nessa's inheritance. Job transfer requires a certain amount of soul value, and the job transfer success rate is not 100%. Added a new 4th level job, Fire Tip. This job only matches remote jobs. Players can go to the firing area to find Nessa's inheritance. Job transfer requires a certain amount of soul value, and the job transfer success rate is not 100%. Added a new 4th level job, War Buddha. This job only matches melee output jobs. Players can go to the colored stone area to find the inheritance of the spiritual stone monkey Sun Wukong. A certain amount of soul value is required to change jobs, and the success rate of job change is not 100%. Added a new 4th level job, Prison Sky. This job only matches healing jobs. Players can go to the underworld area to find the inheritance of Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva. A certain amount of soul value is required to change jobs, and the success rate of job change is not 100%. The job transfer inheritance area belongs to the local server. Job transfer players can reach the inheritance area by teleporting. As soon as the announcement came out, all players in Planet collectively exploded. I woke up from a sleep and a year has passed. Can anyone tell me what happened? Another Chinese server? Playing so fancy? Did the dog official change his nature? Find his conscience? Are you still scolding upstairs? Be careful to be recorded in your little notebook. Official, I misunderstood you. After getting the reply of inheritance, Bai Bing let the light and shadow dissipate. Nessa looked at a creature in the human race and pointed at him. That human, come here. Lan Zifeng looked around and found that he was being called. He walked over in surprise and asked cautiously, "Boss, you called me?" Nessa narrowed his eyes. "I have an inheritance for you. If you are willing to be my personal disciple, I can teach you." Lan Zifeng was stunned and immediately ecstatic. I do. Then he reacted, "Boss, am I the only one who has it?" Nessa nodded, and Lan Zifeng asked, "Why?" Nessa grinned, "No reason. Several of them have it. I'm not afraid of being hated by the saint. Among these human beings, your aura is the most appropriate to me, so I can only choose you." Lan Zifeng. "Can't you say it's because I'm a rare genius with amazing bones?" You are so honest. No wonder your father always beat you when you were a child. No mistake. One poem, one post, one content, one book, one forum. LV Dongban looked at the 3 divine monkeys. Waziki said, "It's too troublesome to teach in person. I'm too lazy to teach. Anyway, I will leave the inheritance in the Yakao area. As for how many human races learn it, it's none of my business." Sun Wukong followed and said, "Me too. Teaching is the most troublesome. It's better to fight more with this time." Lilo Macaque was silent for a while, and finally looked at Liangting, then condensed a ball of light in his hand, and threw it directly to Liangting, who took it in surprise, and looked at Lilo with a confused face. Lilo Macaque said, "My ability is not suitable for inheritance. The little girl of the human race has the best chance of mastering it among this group of people, that's it." Liangting thought of the unreliability of Lilo's realm, and for a moment she didn't know whether to accept the inheritance. She was entangled in whether to return to the underworld area and be a good prisoner or take her chance. Finally, considering that she was the commander of the Chinese service, if she had the same profession as most people, wouldn't it be without dignity? Exclamation mark. Fuck. A game. What's there to be afraid of? I'm not afraid of fasting to lose weight. How can I be so cowardly as to be like you? Seeing that Liangting did not refuse, Liu heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he did not refuse, otherwise, he would not have given away any inheritance, and the saint would hate him. Before Lanzifan could react, Nessa mentioned him directly and said to the acquaintance beside him, "Let's go. If you encounter the void and the abyss in the future, come to the ring of fire and call me." After that, he grabbed Lanzifan and disappeared into the space crack under the envious eyes of the players. Sun Wukong shouted at the crack that was about to disappear, "Third Prince, if you meet the 4th Dragon Emperor again, remember to call me." Zhu Beiji smiled and said, "Brother Monkey, I will follow you in the future." Sha Wujing did not speak, but also stood beside Zhu Beiji. The meaning was self-evident, that is, he meant the same thing. Waziki said to Sun Wukong, "Lingming, before the arrival of the void and the abyss, I hope you." Sun Wukong interrupted directly, "You are annoying. If you keep making noise, I will hit you with a stick." Waziki made a TSK sound, strangled Lia's neck, and stepped into the space crack. Lia kept struggling, "Damn it. Why are you pulling me? I won't go with you." After that, the two monkeys disappeared into the crack. Xitagaba and Lu Dongbin looked at each other, then each looked at their own disciples, and finally turned around and disappeared in the colored stone area. The players were not used to the sudden disbanding. They were planning to communicate with the big guys, but they left so abruptly! Sun Wukong squinted and bared his teeth, and said to the human race, "Why are you still staying here?" Liang Ting's head hadn't turned around yet, and she subconsciously said, "Alliance." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257, Server Transition. Since the players started the 4th job transfer, the Chinese server, as the first server to open, has fully demonstrated the level advantage. All players who meet the job transfer requirements will go to the area of their dreams to find inheritance as soon as possible. Bai Bing helped the players save some of the original job transfer requirements that required a large amount of soul value, but even so, the pressure on players to change jobs is still very high. Not only that, but the success rate of job transfer is less than 40%, which made the players who were originally grateful to the official once again denounce the official as the richest server in planet. Even the Chinese server is so difficult, not to mention the pain of the European server. The European server players who were originally comrades in arms with the Chinese server in the Endless Territory saw the perversion of the 4th job transfer players in the Chinese server at that time. After receiving the system announcement, they were teleported to the inheritance area as soon as possible to intend to turn over the serfs and sing. As a result, the soul value alone discouraged some players. But the players can't complain about the dog official, because this game is free and the game itself does not make money from players. Because the 4th job requires a lot of soul value, the impoverished European server players posted many posts on the official website of the European server on how to earn soul value. Not only that, the players also sold the equipment, items, materials, and medicines in their backpacks that they had been reluctant to sell in order not to be left too far behind by the players who had already changed their jobs. Bai Bing also saw this situation and discussed with Heli Bai whether he could subsidize some of the soul value to the players. The money-loving Heli Bai decisively refused, giving the reason that the role of soul value will become more and more important in the future. Now that it is subsidized to the players, they will be more passive in the future. In the end, Bai Bing played a role in the understanding of business and industry, allowing players to apply for soul value loans in the system with low interest rates, which can also alleviate the urgent need for job transfers. While the Chinese server and the European server were scrambling to transfer jobs, the Korean server, the Japanese server, and the Southeast Asian server were also transitioning to the 3rd job transfer. Since the Korean server changed its commander, it has formed an alliance with the European server and obtained the support of the 2nd largest server. It has developed rapidly and has already left behind the Japanese server and the Southeast Asian server. The catfish of the Korean server also constantly stimulated the commanders of the other 2 servers. In order not to be crushed by the Korean server, the Japanese server players explored and conquered the external seas day and night. The Southeast Asian server carried out an all-pervasive expedition to the desert area. For the Southeast Asian server, there were few creatures in the desert area that were worthy of their alliance, because most of them were creatures that bullied them, and only a few of them did not interfere with the human race. The players of the developed Southeast Asian server were extremely vengeful, and basically chose to act in a ruthless manner against the races that had disgusted their servers in the past, and the relatively peaceful races also agreed to the alliance requests from Southeast Asia. They had to agree, because these human races were sick, and would really ruthlessly attack other creatures. As for the remaining Russian and American servers, the gap between the two servers was already very large. Since the Russian server formed an alliance with the Chinese server, it can go to various regions of the Chinese server to upgrade without scruples. The situation that originally restricted the development of Russian server players due to barrenness is no longer a problem. Now it can be said that all the members of the Russian server have made a transition. After the US server knew about the situation of the Russian server, it not only gnashed its teeth at the Russian server and the Chinese server, but also tried every means to obtain the coordinates of the location of the Southeast Asian server. The current development trend of the server is the rich first drive the poor. Now the remaining two unaligned servers are the Japanese server and the Southeast Asian server. The Japanese server is its younger brother in the real world, and the US server cannot afford to seek their protection. Moreover, the Japanese server's sphere of influence is on the sea, and the US server is not willing to swim naked every day. Compared with the situation of the Japanese server, the Southeast Asian server can fight and resist. The player's IQ is generally not high, the national confidence is underground, and it is easy to fool. In addition, the desert area has a vast landform, which is conducive to the future upgrade and development of the US server. Bai Bing observed the distribution of all servers in Planet through introspection. For the next plan, Bai Bing plans to connect all servers together. First break through the regional barriers between servers, and then consider other things. As long as each server knows the coordinates of its own main city, it will not be too passive in the future, whether it is external development, or facing the invasion of the void and the abyss. There is no need to pay attention to the Chinese, European, Korean, and Russian servers. The remaining ones are the Japanese, Southeast Asian, and American servers. There is no need to pay attention to the Japanese server. The Chinese server already knew the coordinates of their main city and set up teleportation points in their area. There are undercovers from various servers. The location of the Japanese server has basically been exposed, but because it is on the sea, few servers are willing to pay attention to them for the time being. The Southeast Asian server is the most low-key among all the servers. From the perspective of the map, there are the most creatures and resources near the Southeast Asian server. If the Southeast Asian server can form an alliance with the American server will surely develop quickly. What method is used? The Southeast Asian server is okay, but the American server is too weak. No server is interested. Even if their location is known, it is estimated that no server will be willing to explore the location of the American server. Inadvertently glancing at the date on the table, Bai Bing suddenly thought of an idea and smiled charmingly. Since you don't want to go, I will force you to go. After finishing the internal vision, Bai Bing immediately went online to check the messages on the official website of the US server through the background. Sure enough, he found a lot of posts about his ideas. Very good. Since you are so enthusiastic, I can't let you down and let you call me dog official. This time I will satisfy you. Bai Bing was looking up information in the room, and Lin Lin suddenly walked into the room. Xiao Bai, do you want to go out for dinner? Bai Bing's face was full of black lines. Can you please stop calling me Xiao Bai? It sounds like a dog's name. Obviously, this group of bastard players call me dog every day, and you still call me like this, and force me to change my zodiac sign. Lin Lin smiled and said, no, Xiao Bai is the name I gave you. I will call you Xiao Bai from now on. Bai Bing covered his face. He could only spoil his girlfriend. What else could he do? He stood up and picked up his coat and said, let's go out for dinner. Tomorrow is the weekend. I will go to visit the teacher's house with you then. Lin Lin nodded. As soon as she turned around, the phone in her pocket rang. Lin Lin answered the phone without checking the caller ID and said hello. Then she became reserved. Bai Bing was curious about who it was. His girlfriend, who had always been a monkey, was suddenly so well behaved. Then he saw Lin Lin handing over the phone. "Grandma is looking for you." Bai Bing suddenly felt magical. "My grandma didn't call me, but called your cell phone instead?" He picked up the phone and said sweetly, "Grandpa, why don't you call me recently? Don't you miss me?" A grouchy voice came from the other end of the phone. "You are so naughty. Bai Bing, I want to ask you, will you come back for the Mid-Autumn Festival?" Bai Bing replied, "Of course I will." It was the first Mid-Autumn Festival when his father was away, so of course he had to come back. "Is Xiaolin coming back?" Grandma asked again. Bai Bing covered the radio with her hand and asked Lin Lin in a low voice, "Grandma asks you if you will come back during the Mid-Autumn Festival?" Lin Lin nodded. Bai Bing put down her hand. "Yes." Grandma immediately smiled and said, "That's fine. It's okay. You guys are busy." "Bai Bing, you called to ask this?" "No, Grandma. Why don't you just ask Lin Lin directly? Didn't you call her?" "What do you know? How can a shy girl refuse?" "Then you can call me directly. You can ask me privately." "But I want to hear Xiaolin's voice." "You called to ask this? What else? I have to know in advance. I still have to buy groceries, clean the room, and buy sheets and quilts for you. Let me tell you, the new house is almost decorated, and you don't have to live outside. When you come back, you can live in your own home in the future," Grandma said proudly. Okay. Chapter 258, US Server Activities. July 1st, when all the servers were rolling inward, a system announcement suddenly resounded throughout the server. Event preview. The stubbornness of the US server. Event time starts at 0000 hours on July 4th, Independence Day. Event content. 1. During the event, 7 servers will obtain the coordinates of the main city of the US server region and the exclusive server identity. Except for the US server, all other servers must reach the main city of the US server as quickly as possible to fixed server identity of the US server. Judge, you can observe the movements of the other 6 servers from a god's perspective and block them. The blocking skill has a cooldown time of 12 hours. 3. The other 6 server identities are Prophet. Every 12 hours, you can designate a server to verify the identity of the server. Guard. Every 2 hours, you can designate a server to prevent the server from being harmed. Werewolf. Every 2 hours, you can designate a server to cause the server to randomly lose. 100,000 players participating in the event. Civilian. No skills. Note, there are 2 servers for the werewolf and civilian identities for activity rewards. The first person to arrive at the designated coordinate server will have all participating players on that server upgraded by 1 level. The second person to arrive at the designated coordinate server will have all participating players on that server receive 10,000 soul points. The third person to arrive at the designated coordinate server will have all participating players on that server receive double experience for the next day. The fourth person to arrive at the designated coordinate server will have 10,000 soul points deducted from all participating players on that server, and the deducted soul points will belong to the US server. The fifth person to arrive at the designated coordinate server will have 20% experience points deducted from all participating players on that server, and the deducted experience points will be distributed equally to the US server players. The last person to arrive at the designated coordinate server will have 10% of the soul points in the main city treasury of the server deducted and transferred to the main city treasury of the US server. 5. Identity winning mechanism. Werewolf winning conditions. 1. Eliminate the prophet and witch. 2. Eliminate 2 civilians. Prophet, witch winning conditions. 1. Eliminate 2 werewolves. 2. Prophet, witch, civilian win. Civilian winning method. 1. Eliminate 2 werewolves. 2. Prophet, witch, civilian win. Prophet, witch, civilian are good camp. Werewolf is bad camp. The winning party can share 30% of the enemy camp's main city treasury. 6. The US server judge identity can use blocking skills to harass the designated server. The harassment skills are random and currently unknown. The skill cooldown is 12 hours. 7. The werewolf camp can know the server where the wolf teammates are located, and the good camp cannot know the identities of other servers. This announcement blew up all the online players and forum masters. Fuck. Werewolf. If you have an event, I won't be sleepy. Have the dog officials been bribed? Why are the event contents all for the US server? Oh my god, I feel that our Chinese server is going to be targeted. It's definitely the last one. It's so big. Is there a possibility that we are all working for the US server? The US server players almost laughed to death after seeing the content of this event. The dog officials' love for no reason came too suddenly. July 4th is our American Independence Day. I originally thought that the Chinese company would not pay attention, but I didn't expect that they would turn around and launch an event, and no matter how you look at it, it's on our side. Because the event rewards and penalties are so abnormal, server spies flock to the US server official forum to give all kinds of rainbow farts, just to win the favor of their own servers. They don't ask for the first place, but just don't ask for the last place. As for the identity gamma play, we will fight in private. In the next 2 days, the US server players felt deeply that as the last server in terms of strength, they were praised by the players of other servers as the server with the most potential, the best quality, the most reasonable, and the most handsome men and beautiful women in planet. Compared with other players in the US server, the US server commander Ken and Julie held a meeting with the masters on the server ranking list in the US server. The players who attended the meeting were basically screened by Ken and Julie, and there were no undercover agents from other servers. Ken and Julie, let's put aside the issue of the Man-Wolf tribe and the Blood tribe for now. We must first discuss which server to help. I suggest helping the Japanese server. After all, outside the game, the Japanese server is our America's younger brother, and they are not weak. It is reasonable to help them. I think we should help the Chinese server. As the #1 server of planet, helping them can gain their favor. No, the Chinese server has already formed an alliance with the Russian server. They can provide limited help to us. We should help the party that can form an alliance with our server. Ken and Julie nodded. I think so too. The US server has 2 top priorities right now. One is the battle against the Man-Wolf tribe and the Blood tribe, and the other is to form an alliance with other servers. Then only the Japanese server and Southeast Asia server are left. In my personal opinion, choose the Japanese server. The Japanese server's base camp is in the sea, which will not be of much help to our future development. Southeast Asia server is also okay. Their main city is vast. We can deal with the Man-Wolf tribe and the Blood tribe, and then transition to the second level in their desert area. No mistakes. 1 poem, 1 post, 1 content, 1 book, 1 forum, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 forum. Ken and Julie opened her mouth and said, I suggest choosing the Southeast Asian server. On the one hand, it has a vast territory, and on the other hand, the Chinese server already knows the location of the Japanese server's main city. I'm afraid that the Chinese server will interfere with our alliance. I also like the Southeast Asian server. Those guys on the Japanese server are mean bones, and I don't like them either. After discussing with the players present for half an hour, Ken and Julie finally decided on the Southeast Asian server, and then continued. The next step is to discuss the battle with the Wolf tribe and the Blood tribe. This official event is aimed at our American server. We should take advantage of this opportunity to solve these 2 troubles at once. The Russian server has left us behind, and we in the American server can't keep fooling around like this. During the past few days, Bai Bing took into account all the activities that should be considered. This time, through the Independence Day event of the American server, the various servers were firmly tied together. Next, the players can develop on their own and wait for the invasion of the void and the abyss. Bai Bing didn't know how long this activity would take. The distance between the servers was very far. It would take at least 2 days to move towards the US server at the same time. During these 2 days, each server continued to conquer unfamiliar areas. After the activity was over, Bai Bing decided to break the geographical barriers between servers. At that time, players between servers could use soul points to teleport to any area that had been conquered by players. Bai Bing's considerations were also known to Heli Bai. This kind of thing was beneficial to the human race, the world of creatures, and the future defense against the void and the abyss. Heli Bai had considered it before, but because he had no soul points, he had no way to implement it. Now Bai Bing can not only help himself earn soul points, but also realize what he has considered. This world battle really has a chance to win. Chapter 259, The Damn Fourth Career Change. July 4th. The players who had been offline for a rest immediately clicked the button to apply for the event. Liang Ting had no choice but to sit in the square in the center of Jiushan Zuandu, feeling very distressed. It was another event that required her to stay up late, and I had obviously paid a lot of attention to my skincare during this period. This was asking me to spend all my skincare products at once. Fukai stood beside Liang Ting and said with a flattering smile, "Sister, why do you look so distressed? Tell your brother if you have any difficulties and see if I can help you solve them." Liang Ting glanced at Fukai, who was looking shifty next to her, sighed and said weakly, "I don't have soul points to lend you. You go find someone else." Fukai hurriedly squatted down to flatter. "No, sister, you are the commander of the human race. You can't ignore me, your brother. I have my eyes on a piece of jewelry from the Spirit Fish clan, and I think it matches Sister Ziyan's temperament very well. You are a great brother, and I will remember your kindness." Liang Ting covered her face with her hands helplessly. She didn't know whether it was right or wrong to let this guy stay in Jiushan Zuandu. Almost all the players in the entire Chinese server who had a little soul value had their money borrowed by this guy, and they didn't even pay it back. "Brother, you haven't returned the 10,000 soul points you lent me last time." Fukai looked around. Usually, there weren't so many people in the human race's main city at this time. He turned back and asked flatteringly, "Sister, tell me, are you going out to fight again? If you lend me some more soul points, I'll go out with you to fight this time, and it'll be my labor fee. How about that?" Liang Ting glanced at the shameless guy in front of her, sighed, took out 10,000 soul points from her backpack, and handed it over. "Okay, don't make trouble. You should go and accompany Sister Ziyan." Liang Ting's love for Planet has simply fallen below the lowest value during this period, because the exclusive inheritance given to her by the six-eared macaque before was simply a pit. The name of the six-eared macaque's fourth turn exclusive inheritance profession is called Heart Life. The name looks very high-end, and has no conflict with his own healing profession, but the increase in blood volume makes him collapse. The profession of Xinming is just as unreliable as Liu Mihao. When adding blood, it depends entirely on luck. When luck is good, the amount of healing is simply explosive, and the amount of blood added can overflow and make the player's milk poisoned. When luck is average, the amount of blood added is also the normal amount of healing, but when luck is bad, there is no bottom line for the lower limit of healing. If you are not careful, Liang Ting will add blood to other players, and even give the other party negative blood. Yes, it means deducting blood. Sometimes when the player has no blood, Liang Ting can send other players away with a healing skill. It is precisely because of this that now there are very few players in the Chinese server who dare to team up with Liang Ting to kill monsters. In secret, Liang Ting is nicknamed Backstab Maniac. Thinking that the magician who inherited Nessa's exclusive fourth turn profession is his father, Lan Zifeng, my envy can almost turn into hatred. The exclusive fourth turn profession inherited by Lan Zifeng is called Ring Explosion. Just like the name of the profession, there is no frills. The damage is simply aimed at destroying the world. Whether it is a single or a group skill, as long as it is bombarded, it will definitely make the enemy extinct. Lan Zifeng came to see him yesterday, intending to discuss the exclusive profession together. In his opinion, what he said was right. Liang Ting was an exclusive fourth turn profession like him, and the professional skills must be very awesome. He also said that he planned to form a fixed team with Jiangxing, Yi Jian, Shan Wuiyang, Nong Jun, and Leona Yang Shampoo, Zhao Mu, and they would represent the face of the Chinese server in the future. Later, after learning about the characteristics of Liang Ting's professional skills, he politely told him that he had made soup at home and wanted to go offline to drink the soup, and then there was no more. Liang Ting, who was considering whether to delete her account and start over, suddenly received a system notification. Independence Day event begins, and the identity of the Chinese server exclusive event is generated. The identity is Werewolf, and the wolf teammate is European server. All Chinese server and European server players received identity reminder notifications. Seeing that their teammates were so awesome, the players of both servers were extremely surprised. During the event, Bai Bing cancelled the cross-server messaging for the undercover agents in the various servers of Planet, and also set their IDs to a state where they could not post replies on the forum, in order to prevent the identities of the various servers from being leaked. Liang Ting's eyes lit up after receiving the identity notification, and then the light in her eyes dimmed instantly. Forget it, winning or losing doesn't matter anymore. It's just a game. What does it matter if I win? Even if I win, my 4th level professional is still as bad as before. After receiving the identity notification, Becky Williams sent a private message to Liang Ting as soon as possible, intending to discuss tactics together. Liang Ting replied weakly, "You go first. We will set off early tomorrow morning on the Chinese server." Liang Ting's answer made Becky Williams stunned for a moment. What happened to the commander of the Chinese server? Why did he suddenly want to be behind others? Then he thought about it, and suddenly his eyes lit up. She was going to show weakness. It makes people think that the Chinese server can't be a werewolf. Wonderful. Becky William, no problem. In that case, we will lead the European server first. You are worthy of being the commander of the Chinese server. You always surprise me. However, Liang Ting simply lost motivation and had no idea of the imagination of the European server commander. Just when all the players in the Chinese server were ready to move, Liang Ting suddenly said on the campaign system, "The Chinese server will set off at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. During this period, Shan Wuiyang, Farmer Army, will serve as the deputy commander to lead you to explore the coordinates." After that, he directly gave the deputy commander of the campaign to the Farmer Army and then chose to log off. Wuiko, a poem, a post, a content, a book, a bar, a 6, a 9, a book, a bar, and a look. Not only the Chinese server players were confused, but even the deputy commander of the Farmer Army was surprised. How did he become the commander of the campaign? However, for the trust that they had always heard from me, most of the Chinese server players felt that there must be something wrong. There must be a conspiracy in it, but they just couldn't figure it out. So the players of the Chinese server began to make up their minds. I think the commander guessed that as the number 1 server, the Chinese server will definitely be targeted by other servers, so he did this. Yes, without our Chinese server, they will definitely target the European server, and then the European server will be the target of everyone, and our Chinese server can sneakily catch them off guard. You know what? I think the commander's method is brilliant. When other servers saw that the number 1 server did not show any movement at the beginning of the event, they certainly would not think that we are werewolves. The commander should want us to focus on exploration tonight, find out the situation in the unknown areas along the way, and then push through them in one fell swoop during the day. Fuck. What a plan. Even Zhuge Liang has to become a disciple to be resurrected. At this time, all the servers had their own identities. The Chinese server and the European server were werewolf, the Japanese server was prophet, the Southeast Asian server was guard, the Russian server and the Korean server were civilians. Chapter 260, The Elusive Chinese Costume. Because Liang Ting went offline, most of the Chinese server players chose to go offline and sleep and rest. Those who were still in the game were basically players and night owls who were exploring the areas along the way. After Nang Jun took over the command, he also told everyone not to have too many people participate in the action, otherwise it would alert other servers. In the end, only tens of thousands of Chinese server players were left to explore along the way. European server commander Vegeta William led millions of players and was ready to move towards the coordinates of the American server. Suddenly, he received a private message from Korean server commander Cui Yingjing. "Mr. Vegeta, as an ally of the European server, we Korean server want to know what your identity is. Don't worry, the Korean server has always respected the European server. Even if the European server's identity is the werewolf camp, we Korean server will compete fairly with your server." Vegeta Williams smiled. What allies are there at this time? Now, except for the Chinese server, all servers are enemies. How can I tell you? Hello, Korean server commander. As allies of the European server and the Korean server, there is no need to hide. The server identity of the European server is just a civilian. Now our European server is ready to set off for the coordinates of the American server. We will meet along the way. I hope the two servers can fight side by side. After the two commanders exchanged a few words, they set off separately. Bai Bing also set up two mechanisms for this event. One is the real-time notification of the number of participants in each server, which means that the players of each server can see through the system how many people have applied to participate in the event on each server at the moment. The second is to open an event chat channel, and players from various servers can chat with each other on the same event channel. What surprised the major servers the most was that the Chinese server, as the largest server, had less than 100,000 people participating in the event at this time. As a server with the identity of a prophet, the commander Ichironomoto originally planned to go to the Chinese server first. As long as he got the identity of the Chinese server, if the other party was in the good camp, the sense of security of the Japanese server would be doubled. But if it was in the werewolf camp, the Japanese server commander would jump to the prophet to inform all servers immediately. It is worth it to exchange a prophet identity for a werewolf identity of the strongest server. But now seeing the current situation of the Chinese server, Ichironomoto began to struggle whether to put the first test on the Chinese server. Seeing that they were so idle, it didn't seem like they were wolves. In the end, Ichironomoto, the commander of the Japanese server, pointed the first test to the European server. The Chinese server didn't seem to be a werewolf, so the identity of the second largest server, the European server, had to be figured out. The European server's identity is werewolf. Ichironomoto immediately got the European server's identity, and then the server's prophet skill also entered a 12-hour cooldown. The European server turned out to be a werewolf. Question mark? Great. The wolf was found in the first test. Then should I jump into the prophet on the activity channel? Question mark? At the same time, the players who participated in the event on the Japanese server also immediately learned the identity of the European server. Fuck. Tell other servers. The European server is actually a werewolf. Are you stupid? How do you prove that the European server is a wolf? They can say that our Japanese server is a werewolf, and they say that to frame them. Then we can't do nothing. It's not easy to get this information. We have to find a way to let other servers know. Have you forgotten that there are two werewolf servers? We can wait until we find the second one and announce it together so that we can minimize their identities. That's right, our Japanese server is low-key now. Anyway, the werewolves don't know which server is the prophet. In the end, Ichironomoto chose to conceal it. The direction from the Japanese server to the coordinates of the American server is basically on the sea. As long as the werewolves don't target themselves, the Japanese server is sure to crush them all the way. Even if they encounter a living race, the Japanese server is sure to solve it. The American server commander Ken and Julie saw the actions between the major servers through the identity of a judge. The idea of the American server is very simple: to ensure that the Southeast Asian server is the first. If any server's progress exceeds that of the Southeast Asian server, the American server will immediately use blocking skills against it. What's wrong with the Chinese server? They don't seem to care. That's even better. The Southeast Asian server will have one less strong rival, and we won't openly offend the number one server. It's really strange. They have the strength to compete for the first place, but they are so unmotivated. Do they have so many soul points in the main city that they don't care about this punishment? Don't underestimate the Chinese server. The European server suffered a loss last time because they trusted the Chinese server too much. They must have something more important that prevented them from being distracted. That's right. Among the 7 server commanders, the Chinese server's commander is the most difficult to see through. They must have other reasons for doing this. After the Korean server received the reply from the European server commander, while asking the Korean server players who participated in the event to move towards the coordinates, they thought about the authenticity of the European server's reply. As an ally of the Korean server, the European server should not deceive itself. Moreover, the European server did not choose to ask the Korean server's identity at the first time, but spoke first. This situation is enough to show that the European server commander is very vigilant. The civilian identity should be fake, and it is more likely to be a prophet and a guard. Since we have temporarily determined that they are in the good camp and we are civilians, there is no identity hostility between the two servers. We can find an opportunity to communicate privately with the European server and strive to be the best among our two servers. The Southeast Asian server is the most low-key server. The players on the server are like this. They are ruthless and don't talk much. In addition, they are given the identity of Guardian, the only identity that the good camp can defend, which makes the whole Southeast Asia secretly happy. The Southeast Asian server commander ordered all players on the server world channel to unify their statements. The identity of the Southeast Asian server is called civilians. No matter what, other servers must not know that they are guards. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, 1.6, 1.9, one book, one bar. If the guard skill is used well, it can severely damage the werewolves. I think our top priority is to find the prophet so that we can get information from them. You said it so easily. Why would people believe you? If you ask randomly like this, people will think you are a werewolf. Now I want to know what the identity of the Chinese server is. I think they are just civilians. If they are werewolves or prophets, they will definitely not be so casual. I think so too. They are rich and probably don't care about this event. That's good too. The first server is the good guy camp, and it seems that they don't plan to participate in this event. We have one less strong enemy. While the various servers were scheming against each other, the Chinese server temporarily commanded the peasant army to let Wu Hu, He Yang, and the director of the War Research Bureau, Lao Luo, lead two armies of 40,000 people each to explore in different directions. In their minds, I heard that Liang Ting must be planning to explore the map first, and then choose an easy way to go, show the enemy weakness, while making a backup plan, and then catch up with the progress at one time. This is the commander should give. Commanders on other servers will rush in one direction like huskies at the first moment, without any wisdom at all, just like idiots, without brains. Chapter 261, Honey Badger Tribe. After logging off that night, Liang Ting was still concerned about the game. She logged onto the official website to check many activity posts and learned that except for the Chinese server, other servers took action immediately. After seeing the posts on the Chinese server's official website, Liang Ting was very moved by their trust and obedience. She had only wishful thinking, but she didn't expect that this group of guys were so organized and disciplined. In the end, she felt regretful and really shouldn't let her personal emotions affect the interests of the entire server. But after thinking about it, she had already asked most of the players to log off and rest, and there were not many people online now, so she finally decided to catch up on the progress early the next morning. Her eldest brother, Liang Xin, the head of the Liang group, returned home and knocked on her door. "Little sister, are you asleep?" Liang Ting opened the door, and Liang Xin raised the midnight snack in his hand and smiled. "Little sister, brother bought you your favorite midnight snack. After eating, have a good rest at night. Don't be hungry when participating in the activities in the game the next day. Play well and strive to be the first one in our server to set foot on the territory of the US server." Liang Ting didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Brother, you are so busy at ordinary times. Do you still have time to pay attention to the game?" Liang Xin smiled and said, "My little sister is the commander in the game, and it is such a phenomenal national game. I must pay more attention to it. Not only me, but now everyone in China who plays games knows about this event. Everyone expects that our Chinese people can truly set foot on the territory of the United States. Although it is just a game, the call is very high." Liang Ting felt strange in her heart. "Brother, do you trust me so much?" Liang Xin said as a matter of course. "Of course. Everyone knows that the commander of our Chinese server is the most powerful among all the commanders. Every time you command in the game, even the old man praises you. And you are my sister. Of course I believe you." Liang Ting looked at the midnight snack in her hand and looked at Liang Xin tenaciously. "I know, brother, don't worry, I will definitely win the event in this game." Liang Xin smiled and said, "Well, you should rest early after eating. Now it is said outside that you, the commander of the Chinese server, must have something bad in your heart, otherwise you would not endure it and let other servers seize the opportunity." Liang Ting, "I didn't, I was just making trouble." However, Liang Xin did not give himself a chance to explain. He cheered himself up with his hand with a face of trust, then turned around and laughed, and said to himself, there is really no one in a Liang family who eats for nothing. My sister did this. She must have a big plan. Liang Ting kept looking at her brother's back and the midnight snack in her hand. At this time, Liang Ting really planned to throw away the midnight snack. Brother, do you have any misunderstandings about your sister? So many years of relationship. No tacit understanding at all. The next morning, Liang Ting went downstairs to have breakfast. Looking at her brother's proud eyes and the old man's expression of approval, she finished the whole bowl of porridge, as if she had eaten wax, and went to the room listlessly. When Liang Ting disappeared at the stairs, the old man said to Liang Xin, boy, fix the projection screen in the conference room at home for me. I want to watch my granddaughter's live broadcast and see how she defeats other countries one by one and beats the United States. Liang Xin waved his hand. Don't worry, Grandpa, I have already fixed it. I will also come back from get off work early today to watch it with you. After logging into the game, Liang Ting immediately saw countless Chinese server players in the main city of Jiushanzuandi getting ready. The peasant army immediately handed over the command to Liang Ting and informed him that millions of players had gathered. He Yang and Lao Luo immediately handed the simple map they drew to Liang Ting. Lao Luo said, our two exploration armies split into two routes last night to explore. This is the route. The upper route is short, but there are more creatures and more species. The lower route is long, but relatively safe, and there will be no large-scale battles. Of course, this map is only the two closest areas along the way. We didn't have enough time to explore the areas behind. Looking at the burning eyes of the players on the Chinese server around her, Liang Ting exhaled and shouted to the people around her, everyone, are you ready? We want to be the first to set foot on the territory of the United States. Take the first place. The surrounding players responded loudly. Liang Ting looked at the simple map in her hand. She had no choice but to choose the short route. Now other servers have left the Chinese server far behind. It would not be appropriate to choose a long route. Millions of Chinese server players were teleported to the Chunhyang area at the same time, and they charged forward according to the coordinates of the US server. Liang Ting's orders were direct and brutal. If they encountered hostile creatures along the way, they would be directly eliminated. If they encountered other races, they would leave some players to surround them and wait for them to come forward to negotiate, while the rest would continue to move forward. If a battle was necessary, it would be handed over to the players in the rear. While Liang Ting was rushing, she contacted BG William to inquire about the situation. After seeing the private message from the Chinese server commander, BG William smiled and replied decisively, I have gained the trust of the Korean server. His identity is a civilian. I didn't sleep all night last night, except for not launching skills against the Korean server. I have been equally involved in all other servers. Our European server has now passed 2 areas, and there are 3 areas left to the destination. I haven't found the identities of the Prophet and the guard. They are hiding too deeply. Liang Ting replied, I know, you'd better take a rest. I have a plan. We will cooperate in the evening. This activity will take a long time. Don't die suddenly in the middle of the journey. When BG William learned that the Chinese server commander actually had a plan, he showed an expression of as expected. Okay, I will hand over the command temporarily and contact you tonight. Because the European server commander BG William went offline to rest, the only one who can launch the werewolf identity skill now is Liang Ting, the Chinese server commander, but Liang Ting did not use it immediately. It was too obvious that the Chinese server used the skill right after the action. No mistakes. 1 post, 1 content, 1619, 1 book, 1 bar. In just half an hour, Liang Ting received feedback from the front line. They encountered a creature race. They were not weak, but they were not a big threat. According to the original plan, 100,000 players were left on the front line to surround the creature race, and the rest of the players ignored them and continued to attack. When Liang Ting arrived, she saw a tribe of tens of thousands of creatures preparing to attack the nearby human race with a face full of hostility. If they hadn't seen such a terrifying number of human races, they would have taken action long ago. Badger, the chief of the Honey Badger tribe, the middle stage of the Holy Spirit. Honey Badger tribe? Isn't this the flat-headed brother? No wonder the expression is so fierce. It is hostile to us. Except for the chief of the middle stage of the Holy Spirit, the rest of the honey badger tribe creatures are at the level of the overlord creatures, and there are many creatures in the realm of the gods. Liang Ting stepped forward and directly recalled the mounts, asked the Chinese server players to leave 100,000, and the rest of the players continued to rush to the front line. Hello, Chief. The human race has no intention of disturbing us. We are just passing through here, Liang Ting said politely. The badger saw the creature who claimed to be a human race talking to him, and asked with a gloomy face, human race? I haven't heard of it. You entered my brawl area on such a large scale. Do you want to start a war? Liang Ting shook her head. Chief, you misunderstood. I told you that the human race is really just passing by. The badger touched the white hair on his head and said unkindly, since you are just passing by, why did you attack our people? Attack your people? I haven't heard of it. Did a player attack the honey badger tribe just now? Chief, did you misunderstand? When did our human race attack the honey badger tribe? Liang Ting asked hurriedly. The badger retorted loudly, why not? The creatures of your human race just stepped on the feet of our people. Liang Ting and the surrounding players were collectively speechless. It was indeed a flat-headed brother. His brain circuit was really crisp. Chapter 262. The bullied Chinese clothes. Liang Ting was stunned and could only apologize. It was impossible to reason with the honey badger race. Chief, we humans didn't mean it. I apologize for the human race that accidentally stepped on your people just now. I hope you will be magnanimous. Liang Ting's apology made the angry honey badger creatures look better immediately. The badger weasel felt a different touch in his heart when he saw the human female creature in front of him apologize so sincerely. In the chaotic area, in addition to the honey badger tribe, there are two other races that fight with the honey badger tribe all year round. One is the scale snake tribe and the other is the venomous wolf tribe. The three races fight each other as soon as they disagree. It is extremely annoying. At least in the eyes of the honey badger tribe, the two races never communicate well. When the honey badger tribe meets the other two races in the wild, they will fight as soon as they come up. If they can fight, they will resolutely not quarrel. Over time, the scale snake tribe and the venomous wolf tribe will run around when they meet the honey badger tribe. The honey badger tribe, who had been fighting for years, encountered a strange race at this time. They actually apologized when they did something wrong, and this race was numerous and powerful. Such a well-educated race was deeply sympathized by the badgers. The honey badger tribe also put down their hatred. The relaxed honey badgers approached the human race one by one, curiously looking at these tall creatures in front of them. The badger said, human race, your tribe has so many creatures, why do you have to make such a big move to migrate? In the eyes of the badger, such a large-scale ethnic movement is unlikely to cause a fight, and it will only be ethnic migration. Liang Ting didn't know how to answer. Did she tell you that we were in a hurry to participate in the event? Or did we say that we were full and had nothing to do? After thinking for a while, she thought of finding a random reason to fool the honey badger tribe. Liang Ting immediately showed an embarrassed expression, and her acting skills were instantly online. She said in a slightly sobbing voice, Chief, you don't know, our human race is difficult. A group of Chinese server players around. Commander, what's wrong with you? Did you take the wrong medicine? In the curious eyes of the badgers and the honey badgers, Liang Ting began to tell a story. There are actually many branches of our human race, and our branch is called the Huaxia human race. It is the weakest of the 7 branches of the human race, so it is often bullied by other human branches. Just yesterday, in order to plunder our land, other human branches actually united to invade our homeland. We rose up to resist, but 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. In the end, in order to protect the future of our people, we can only migrate with the elderly and children and find another home. So, Patriarch, our human race really did not intend to trample on your honey badgers. We dare not anger any race now, for fear of causing the genocide. Our branch of the human race just wants to find a place where we can live in peace with the world. 555 inches. The corners of the mouths of the surrounding Huaxia server players trembled. Our Huaxia server is the weakest among several human branches. Otherwise, if we anger any race, we are afraid of people coming to genocide. Commander, are you possessed? I have virgin urine. Do you want it? The honey badgers were furious after hearing what the humans said. This plot was exactly what our honey badgers had been going through. The same was true for the scaled snakes and the wolf tribes. When they met our honey badgers before, they all united to bully us. If it weren't for our honey badgers being united, dare to fight them, we would probably be like this human tribe in front of us, forced to leave our homes. The badger weasel sighed with empathy. Humans, we must be brave, and don't be afraid. I can't guarantee anything in other places, but in the Brawl area, we honey badgers are your backers. A group of Chinese server players around. Can it be like this? Liang Ting pretended to wipe away tears. Thank you, tribe leader, but I don't want to implicate you. You honey badgers are all good creatures. Our human branch can be strong with you. We have no regrets in death. The honey badgers had never seen such a sentimental and kind race. They would apologize when they did something wrong. They had the same experience, and the atmosphere suddenly became dull. The badger shouted, I've decided. We, the honey badger tribe, will help you humans take back our homeland. Liang Ting waved her hands hurriedly. No, 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 there's no need, chief. Our homeland is now in ruins. Even if we take it back, we can't live there. Humans don't dare to ask for the protection of the honey badgers. Today, when I met the honey badgers, I also felt your kindness. Chief, how about we humans form an alliance with you? Haha, Commander, your acting skills are so good that even national first-class actors would have to go back to school to repeat their studies. The badger waved his hands very generously. No problem. As long as you encounter difficulties in the fighting area, tell us. Liang Ting smiled and said, in that case, we humans won't stay any longer. We still have to go find a new home. If you have the chance in the future, you are welcome to visit us. We'll treat you to spicy strips then. The badger didn't know what spicy strips were and thought it was a kind of food for humans. After Liang Ting said an emotional farewell to the honey badgers, she looked at the players around her who were glancing at her and asked, what are you doing? The players collectively sighed. Women are all liars. Zhang Wuji's mother once said that the prettier a woman is, the more likely she is to lie. This is the first time I feel that it is so easy to deal with a race. The honey badgers are all fooled. I almost thought that our Chinese server is indifferent to the world. You are so into the game, brother. Liang Ting ignored the discussions of the players around her. It was time to activate her werewolf identity skill. It would not be a good idea to keep it. Who should she choose? Wu Yiko Yasao Yifei. Wouldn't that get rid of suspicion temporarily? After careful consideration, Liang Ting decided to use her skills to target her own Chinese server. She used her command authority to inform all Chinese server players of her plan on the world channel so that they could prepare. The Chinese server players were immediately upset. They finally got motivated, but the commander suddenly became so disgusting. It really dampened their morale. Fuck. Toads sleeping like frogs. Why are you playing so fancy? Women are really cruel to themselves. Come on, die early and log off early. I hope I'm among those 100,000 players. I haven't had breakfast yet. Forget it. The commander did this for the event ranking. If you are dissatisfied, don't scold her, just hit her. After Liang Ting notified, she used her skills directly, selected the Chinese server as a target, and muttered in her heart, don't randomly pick me, I'm a tabha. The Chinese server activates the werewolf skill. Specify a server to make the server lose 100,000 players randomly, with a cooldown of 2 hours. Specify the server, Chinese server. Skill activated. The skill was activated successfully. Because the designated server is protected by the guard skill, it successfully resisted the werewolf skill once. Liang Ting. All Chinese server players, WTF! Exclamation mark. Chapter 263, Scaled Snake Tribe. Southeast Asia Server Commander Chunshu, soft yellow, smiled after receiving the system's prompt. Finally, he managed to defend the server safely. Southeast Asia server players saw that their server actually managed to defend the server, and their collective confidence increased greatly. My commander is awesome. Fuck. He actually attacked the Chinese server. Fortunately, he managed to defend the server. So the Chinese server is not a werewolf. Of course not. Who would attack themselves right away? If the Chinese server is the good guy camp, then we good guys have a much greater chance of winning. It's really exciting. The reason why Soft Yellow guarded the Chinese server was also a whim. From the beginning of the event to now, he has not rested for a quarter of an hour and has been brainstorming. As the guard who should be the most surviving, Soft Yellow needs to find out who the good guy is as soon as possible so that it is convenient to guard. In fact, Soft Yellow did not think that the Chinese server was a wolf at the beginning. How could a werewolf waste a whole night without taking action? But he was still a little worried in his heart. After all, the commander of the Chinese server is famous for his good strategy. Is this just her way to confuse other servers? When the Chinese server officially started to act during the day, Soft Huang chose to protect them after careful consideration. He put himself in the mindset of the werewolf. When he saw the Chinese server, the strongest server, started to act, he would definitely use skills on them first to consume the number of Chinese servers. Once other servers were used by werewolves, the suspicion of the Chinese server would be directly off the charts. But now the Chinese server has been targeted by the werewolves, so the Chinese server can be picked out. They must be in the good camp. The Chinese server can be trusted. Liang Ting thought she had seen it wrong. She stared for a long time before she could see the system content clearly. Was she being guarded? Could it be like this? Exclamation mark. The players of the Chinese server immediately started to flatter. I didn't expect there would be such an operation. Is this also the commander's prediction? The Daozang strongman is so terrifying. This is called risking one's life. The guards will no longer doubt the identity of our Chinese server. The commander is awesome. Liang Ting was so flattered by the players that she felt like a female Zhuge Liang. She was guarded like this. She was simply the girl of destiny. Before Liang Ting could finish being proud, feedback came from the front again. The front line has crossed the brawl area and arrived at the second map, the Wu-Wei area, but the players in the brawl area behind have encountered another race, and now the two sides are confronting each other. The number of the other side is as high as 200,000. Liang Ting didn't have any idea, after seeing the feedback from the front about the number of the confronting races 200,000. A mouthful of spit from each person in the Chinese server could drown them. When she arrived at the border of the brawl area at the fastest speed, Liang Ting saw the same number of players staring at 200,000 creatures of the same race. 00, Chief of the Scaled Snake Tribe, Realm, Intermediate Holy Spirit. The players saw the purest white snake in front of them, with tiny scales all over its body. Your name is so cute. Liang Ting stepped forward and gave a standard opening speech. Hello, Chief. We are from one of the branches of the human race, the Huaxia human race. We are sorry for disturbing you. Zio kept sticking out her tongue and staring at Liang Ting. Human race. What are you going to do in the brawl zone with such a large scale operation? Liang Ting took a deep breath and sobbed again. Chief. It's difficult for us. The Huaxia server players once again. In the puzzled eyes of Zio and the Scaled Snake Tribe creatures, Liang Ting once again showed her acting skills just now. However, compared with the chief of the Honey Badger tribe, Zio was obviously much more cautious and did not immediately believe the human race. Your Huaxia human race alone has such a large number, and this scale is still the weakest among the human race branches? Zio asked. Liang Ting nodded, and Zio asked again. You passed through here, just to find a new home? Liang Ting continued to nod, and Zio stared. Did you just deceive the honey badgers in the same way? Liang Ting was about to nod, but she stopped immediately when she realized it. I did say this to the honey badgers, but I didn't deceive them. This is a fact. Don't you believe it, Chief? Zio said, I'm different from that idiot badger weasel. He is stubborn and has no brains. Liang Ting said embarrassedly, if the chief doesn't believe it, our human race can form an alliance with the Scaly Snake Tribe and establish a non-aggression treaty. Zio shook his snake head and didn't speak, which meant that he rejected Liang Ting. Liang Ting sighed. Chief, we humans have passed through here and have not killed any living creature in the brawl area until now. If the chief still doesn't believe us, our Chinese human race will leave the brawl area now. It's no big deal. Anyway, we have formed an alliance with the honey badgers and have a teleportation point. After the activity is over, we will come back to deal with you, the little clever ghost. Liang Ting showed a tragic expression and said to herself in a loud voice, I didn't expect it. My Chinese race would be so vigilant by other creatures. We have never hurt any race. Looking at the human race in front of her with a little doubt, Liang Ting continued to sigh, Father and mother, you gave me the position of clan leader. You sacrificed yourself on the battlefield. Your daughter is incompetent and cannot revitalize the race. I'm ashamed of the ancestors of the Chinese race. The Chinese server players around were all planning to fight at this time, but the show they were directing had not been finished yet, but they had to cooperate with the presence of outsiders, and they gritted their teeth and said, Clan leader, this is not your fault. No mistakes. One song, one post, one content, one book, one forum. Let's go back. Fight to the death with other human branches. That's right. We would rather cry in a BMW than laugh on a bicycle. What the hell are you talking about? We would rather die standing than live on our knees. Same meaning. Chief. Why is your life so miserable? If you leave, what will happen to our race? Xiaoxiao was immediately touched when she heard that the human race was so miserable. She slid her body towards Liang Ting and said, I believe you, don't be sad. Liang Ting showed a surprised expression and then said, touched, do you believe me? Xiaoxiao nodded, then looked up at the sky, as if recalling the past. When I was young, my father and mother also died in battle for the continuation of the race, so I believe you, and I understand your thoughts. The players on the Chinese server immediately lowered their heads and kept silent. No, you don't understand, she is acting you. Liang Ting reached out to Xiao, who did not dodge, and let the human's palm touch her scales. Thank you for trusting me. We humans will leave now, and will not cause you any trouble. Xiao shook her head. Didn't you say before that the human race wanted to form an alliance with us? We agreed. From now on, the Scale Snake tribe will be your human race's ally. The surrounding Chinese server players all looked up at the sky and sighed deeply. If this game continues to be played like this, there will be no excitement. Liang Ting showed a surprised expression. Thank you, Chief. Xiao moved his body and gently surrounded Liang Ting, resting his head on Liang Ting's shoulder, and said softly and tenderly, you're welcome. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264, Aphrodisiac Fragrance. At 12 noon, the Japanese server's prophet's identity skill had finished cooling down. The first verification target was the European server, and the identity that was verified was a werewolf. The Japanese server commander Fujisan Screwman, Ichiro Nemoto, chose to stay up all night for this event. During these 12 hours, Ichiro Nemoto was always thinking about which server to target for the second verification. During this period of time, Ichiro Nemoto has been paying attention to the chats on the event channel, and learned that within 12 hours, a total of 3 servers were most harmed by werewolves. One was his own Japanese server, one was the Russian server, and one was the Southeast Asian server. The guard skill was only successful once out of 6 times, which was the Chinese server last time. The Chinese server should be the good guy camp, he is the prophet, and the European server is the werewolf. Ichiro Nemoto is sure of the identities of these 3 servers. So, there are only 2 possibilities for the werewolves not to attack the Korean server. One is that the Korean server and the European server are allies and the European server takes care of them. The second possibility is more likely, that is, both the European server and the Korean server are werewolves. Ichiro Nemoto thinks the second possibility is the greatest, so he decided to choose the Korean server as the target of the second verification. The identity of this server is civilian. After receiving the system reply, not only was Ichiro Nemoto surprised, but even the players who participated in the event on the Japanese server were dumbfounded, because this conclusion was reached by most Japanese server players. Otherwise, why was it that only the Korean server was not attacked by werewolves? Question mark. The Korean server was not a werewolf. Question mark. Which server was the last werewolf? Southeast Asia server? Question mark. Russian server? Question mark. They were crying thief before? Question mark. Ichironomoto, who couldn't figure it out, felt a sharp pain in his head. After staying up all night and spending energy in the game, he was a little exhausted now. Not only the Japanese server commander was like this, but the commanders of the 4 servers of Korean server, Russian server, Southeast Asia server, and American server were all planning to go offline to rest, but once they went offline, the players would be leaderless and could only rest together. It was impossible to squeeze their energy like this. At this moment, the commander of the American server was hard to satisfy, Kenan Julie, and was observing the every move of the Southeast Asia server with a drowsy head. Now the progress of the Southeast Asian server has fallen to second place and has been overtaken by the Japanese server. It's normal. The route from the Japanese server to our American server is basically in the sea. There are few creatures in the sea, and there are no creatures that pose a threat to the Japanese server. I suggest launching a blocking attack on the Japanese server. Use the skill as early as possible to ensure that the progress of the Southeast Asian server is not surpassed. It doesn't have to be first. As long as the identity of the Southeast Asian server is figured out, it is also okay to let the identity of his camp get first. After listening to the discussion of the players present, Ken and Julie felt that it made sense. Yes, we must first figure out the identity of the Southeast Asian server. Let's not talk about anything else. After using the blocking skill this time, I plan to go offline to catch up on sleep. I will go online at night. During this time, Angela, you will be the temporary commander and watch their every move. Angela, Joan, nodded. Don't worry, I'm not sleepy yet, leave it to me. Ken and Julie activated the American server's judge identity skill. Use the random blocking skill and specify the server as Japanese server. Randomly confirm the skill estrus fragrance, skill estrus fragrance, within 1 hour. Players participating in the service will emit an estrus fragrance to attract nearby creatures to mate. When the US server players saw this skill randomly appear, they were very upset. What a mess of skills. The dog official taste is so vulgar. At this moment, the Japanese server players did not know that they were silently taken care of. Along the way, the Japanese server army successfully crossed 2 seas without any danger. There were creature races in these 2 seas, but their basic strength was not strong. Most of the races were successfully allied with the Japanese server, and a few were wiped out. When arriving at the 3rd sea, the Japanese server commander Ichironomoto suddenly found that a large number of marine creatures were pouring out around and approaching the fleet of his server. At first, ordinary creatures gathered in groups and densely surrounded the ship, followed by medium creatures, and then overlord-level marine creatures appeared. In the end, there were even dozens of marine creatures at the level of gods. Although Ichironomoto was not afraid of the spirit realm, and the Japanese server had the capital to fight against them, there were too many of them in front of them. These marine creatures attacked the Japanese server's ships for no reason. If the Japanese server was not the main city of the island, and the ships were generally of higher level, it would be wiped out instantly when faced with such a large number of creatures. What's going on? Why are there so many marine creatures in this area? Don't they attack each other? Why are they surrounding us? They look like they are on drugs. Can any big boss explain it? No. Why is there an extra estrus fragrance buff in my status bar? What the hell? Fuck. I also have this buff in my status bar. So these creatures want to do something shameful to us? The Japanese server commander Ichironomoto immediately figured it out. This is not a problem with this area, but the American server launched a blocking skill against the Japanese server. But why? Exclamation mark. There is no grudge between our Japanese server and the American server. Ichironomoto even thought about going to the US server to discuss an alliance with them. Attacking the Japanese server for no reason? They want to form an alliance with the Southeast Asian server? Question mark. Damn. Obviously, our Sakura country and the United States have been firm allies for decades. Why did they choose the Southeast Asian server? The other servers were originally planning to go offline for a rest, but suddenly they saw the topic of Tokyo fever on the Japanese server on the activity channel and immediately became energetic. They didn't expect the skills of the US server to be so disgusting, and they didn't expect that they would choose the Japanese server as the first shot. Liangting was already prepared to be targeted by the US server. How terrifying. There is actually such a buff. As we all know, facing creatures in heat, all strength and realm are meaningless. That's right, even if a person earns 2,000 a month, once he is in heat, he won't even consider how to spend this month. Upstairs. Please tell us your story. Don't worry, as experts in this field, the Japanese server has experience in handling this kind of thing. The atmosphere has been set here. Why don't we let the brothers on the Japanese server turn on the live broadcast? Brothers who can't watch the screens of other servers during campaigns and activities. Screen recording is fine. I haven't seen this type of film yet. What type? Alternative perversion? Faced with the ridicule between the servers, the Japanese server no longer has the heart to pay attention to them. They were obviously planning to go offline and rest, but suddenly this happened. Looking at the marine creatures with red eyes on the nearby sea, the Japanese players on all the ships felt their scalps numb. I would rather commit seppuku myself than fall into the sea. Ichiro Nimoto gritted his teeth and said, very well, since you American server are targeting us, then when we reach the American server, don't blame us Japanese server for being ruthless. Chapter 265, Green Ox. Although the Japanese server was in dire straits, not many servers cared. Except for the Chinese server, the European server, that had already gone offline for a rest, and the Japanese server that was suffering. The other servers all chose to go offline for a rest. The Chinese server's army had already passed through the brawl area, and was now running wildly on a new map that was no different from the colored stone area, with an extremely beautiful environment and very fresh air. No threats had been found for the time being. Liangting looked at the name displayed on the map, Wuyi area. This area is really strange. So far, except for some docile creatures, no aggressive creatures or races have been found. The dog officials would not set up such a useless area for no reason. That's right. The more such areas are, the more they need to be explored clearly. Do you think this area will seal some big guys or powerful evil spirits? It's possible. Liangting looked at the discussion of the players on the World Channel. She had also considered this possibility. The dog officials would not create such a region with nothing for no reason. There must be some secrets here. Just when Liangting was about to ask the players to observe the surroundings carefully along the way, the first echelon in front suddenly fed back a message saying that a big creature was found and asked them to hurry up. Liangting smiled. Sure enough, there really was a big creature in this area, so it made sense. But these guys were really something. They just explained what kind of creature it was on the World Channel, but they had to ask me to go up and see it. Along the way, Liangting noticed that there were players on the World Channel who kept expressing shock. Fuck. What did I see? This is a real big creature. No, it should be the little brother of the real big creature. Isn't this guy more valuable than Brother Dashi? I must get a legacy from him. That way I'll be rich. I remember he had a treasure in the TV series. Check to see if he has it. Go up and see. He can degenerate your sack with one kick. What the hell? What kind of big creature shocked you guys who always have their eyes on the top of your heads? Liangting pushed aside the group of players and saw a simple cow-like creature chewing on the grass in the open space not far away, ignoring the densely packed human race around. Green Bull, Realm, Early Shengming, Taishang Laojian's Mount. Green Bull! Exclamation mark. Damn. Isn't this the creature that sealed G in the past? G used to say bad things about Green Bull when he was in Jiushan Zuandu before, saying that he was sealed for so many years because of Green Bull. Liangting was instantly numb. Even when she saw Brother Dashi, she didn't feel this way now. This is the mount of a real boss. If only we could get information about Taishang Laojian from Green Bull. If the Chinese server finds Taishang Laojian, won't the Chinese server be able to bully whatever monsters they want in the future? Question mark? Liangting hurriedly tidied up her clothes and hurriedly and cautiously stepped forward to get close to him. Green Bull raised his head and looked at the actions of the human race, and the chewing action on his mouth did not stop at all. Liangting didn't dare to get too close to King Niu and stood not far away and greeted him timidly. Senior, hello, we are from the human race. You know that, right? King Niu swallowed the green grass, slowly lay down on all fours, and nodded. I know, Laojun told me before. Liangting breathed a sigh of relief. Laojun was the supreme lord. Since he mentioned our human race, he should not be an enemy. Boss King Niu, why are you in this area? Liangting asked. King Niu said shockingly, the 6th Dragon Emperor of the Void is sealed under the Wu-Wei area. I'm watching. Liangting answered subconsciously. So, what? The 6th Dragon Emperor? King Niu nodded. If you don't believe it, I can let him out. After all, the human race has been born, and there is no need for me to trap him anymore. What the hell? Question mark? You are so fierce. Question mark? Liangting immediately asked, Senior King Niu, what is the strength of the 6th Dragon Emperor of the Void? King Niu thought for a while. If I remember correctly, the 6th Dragon Emperor Milano should be a corpse, and he has been sealed for so long, his realm should have declined. The Chinese server players collectively said no. You said it so easily? Exclamation mark. The realm of a corpse. Enemies of this realm have never appeared in planet. You want to let him out at every turn. Have you ever considered what to do with us? Liangting's scalp tingled, and she hurriedly stopped him. Senior King Niu, please don't let him out. We can't beat him. King Niu yawned. Aren't the great sage and the 3rd prince already born? The two of them should have no problem beating a wounded 6th Dragon Emperor together. Liangting was speechless. Haven't you been in the Wu-Wei area? How can you know so clearly? Question mark? King Niu went on to say, but if you humans don't have the confidence to fight against the 6th Dragon Emperor, I can continue to trap him. Anyway, I'm used to it after so many years. It's fine to eat grass and sleep like this. Liangting asked cautiously, Senior King Niu, you are in the realm of saintly wisdom. How did you seal Zunyishi? King Niu said as a matter of course. Of course I can't seal it. It was Laojun who sealed it. I just watched. After saying this, King Niu showed a trace of sadness, lay down, closed his eyes, and ignored Liangting. In his mind, the human race is the creatures of the 9 provinces, and will not do anything bad to him, so he did not set up defenses. Just when Liangting didn't know what to do, King Niu, who was pretending to sleep with his eyes closed, suddenly said, if the human race has time, I advise you to solve the 6th Dragon Emperor as soon as possible. The Void and the Abyss are coming. Now that there is one less enemy, it will be much easier in the future. Liangting was silent. King Niu, as the Mount of Taishang Laojun, would not deceive the human race. What King Niu said made sense. Now our world of living beings has taken the initiative. Solving an enemy at the level of beheading a corpse can benefit future generations. Liangting asked the question she wanted to know the most. Excuse me, Senior King Niu, where is Laojun now? King Niu opened his eyes. I don't know. Maybe he has withdrawn from the world. Or maybe he is dead. I haven't heard of Laojun for a long time. Liangting didn't believe that Taishang Laojun would die and decided that after this event, the Chinese server would find Sun Wukong and Neza and take advantage of the 6th Dragon Emperor's fallen level to solve the hidden danger of Wu-Wei area. On the World Channel, he said, okay, the matter of the 6th Dragon Emperor will be resolved after the event ends. Now our top priority is to go to the US server coordinates. Hurry up. The Chinese server players all knew that now was not the time to consider the Wu-Wei region, so they all saluted King Niu and continued to rush in the direction of the US server coordinates. After the players left, King Niu opened his eyes. His eyes were empty, and he muttered to himself, the human race has been born. Laojun, there is still no news about you. Are you really dead? A light butterfly landed silently on King Niu's head. The originally lonely King Niu suddenly opened his eyes wide, stood up excitedly and murmured, Laojun. Chapter 266, Diamond Cutter. At 7 PM, the time set before going offline, the European server players collectively went online. BG William immediately observed the progress of each server and contacted Liangting. In terms of progress, the European server is now the last one, and now except for the Chinese server, all servers have collectively gone offline to rest. At present, the Chinese server is the server with the best chance of winning the first place. BG William said. Liang Ting replied, yes, it is not practical for the European server to catch up now, so I have a plan that requires your cooperation from the European server. BG William humbly answered, you say? Liang Ting said, the Korean server can be confirmed to be civilians, the Chinese server and the European server are werewolves, and I have roughly guessed the identities of the remaining Southeast Asian server, Russian server, and Japanese server. Before, our Chinese server used the werewolf skills to attack ourselves, but was blessed by the gods, so in the eyes of the gods, our Chinese server is a good camp. BG William was surprised, and he could also kill himself? Exclamation mark. How dare you do this? Question mark. Liang Ting continued, I asked the Russian server before, and the identity they gave was civilians. I don't think they would lie to us, so if the Korean server and the Russian server are tentatively determined to be civilians, then the remaining prophets and guards are the Japanese server and the Southeast Asian server. Becky William, the guess is correct, so do you know the specific identities? Liang Ting replied, I guess that the Japanese server is the prophet and the Southeast Asian server is the guard. Becky William puzzled, why? Liang Ting, first of all, we Chinese server have a grudge with the Japanese server. If the Japanese server is a guard, it is very likely that they will not guard our Chinese server. They are willing to see us suffer. Becky William, just based on this? Liang Ting, you don't understand this group of devils. They are so rebellious in their bones. Even if the Japanese server is not a prophet, I dare to conclude that they are definitely not guards. Becky William didn't trust them too much in his heart, but he felt it made sense. At least so far, the command of the Chinese server has never made a mistake. Liang Ting continued, it's impossible for your European servers to catch up, so I have a plan that requires your cooperation. BG William, you say? Liang Ting, muddy the waters. After 12 o'clock tonight, you jump into the event channel as a prophet and point the finger at the Japanese server. BG William did not respond for a long time. Liang Ting knew that the European server commander was considering the feasibility of pushing his own server to the forefront and letting the Chinese server sink. In the end, BG William replied with one word, okay. Liang Ting looked at the progress on the map and saw that it was already halfway through. At most 2 regions, the Chinese server would be able to reach the chaotic area of the American server. At this moment, Angela Joan, the temporary commander of the American server, was looking at the progress of all servers. At this time, the Chinese server ranked first, followed by the Southeast Asian server. After determining that both servers were good people, Joan finally did not choose to attack the Chinese server. Anyway, they were in the same camp, and it didn't matter if they were first or second. The Southeast Asian server was at the top and could give face to the Chinese server and make a good relationship. The most important thing was that the good people camp could win. The European server is now ranked last in terms of progress, and it seems that they have no intention of making a breakthrough. Are they in the good camp? Are they satisfied with seeing that the Chinese server is ranked first in progress? The time for Commander Ken and Julie to go online is approaching, so let's leave it at that for now. Since there are no major changes in the Southeast Asian and Chinese servers, there is no need to activate the blocking skills of the American server. However, what the Planet players don't know is that above the Wuwei area that the Chinese server passed by before, a hidden figure is excitedly looking at this beautiful area. The 4th Dragon Emperor Brickler sniffed the fresh air around him and said to himself, this smell. If I don't come here in person, I really can't smell your breath. Milano. You are also sealed in the Kaishu world. King Neo watched the light butterfly leave at this time, and he was no longer lazy as usual. He kept stepping on his hind hooves, and the grass on the ground was constantly rolling, and a silver ring was exposed on the ground. King Neo leaned down and put the silver ring on his neck and repeatedly peeled off the dirt on the silver ring with his front hooves. Vajra, don't be angry. Leojan asked me to take you out. Please don't strangle me. The Vajra made a series of crisp sounds, as if it was dissatisfied with King Neo for disturbing its sleep. Just as King Neo peeled off all the dirt on the Vajra suddenly flew out of King Neo's neck and rushed into the sky. When King Niu was confused, the Vajra instantly expanded infinitely, and the entire Wu-Wei area was instantly wrapped in the Vajra. At this time, the fourth Dragon Emperor Brickler in the sky suddenly realized a threatening aura. What happened? Was he discovered? Exclamation mark. To be on the safe side, Brickler immediately opened the space crack and planned to leave, but found that the space crack only showed a trace of cracks and then automatically dissipated. Brickler stared with his eyes. Trapped? What happened? Question mark. Because of the Vajra, King Niu successfully sensed the creatures in the sky above the Wu-Wei area, staring at the creatures with his eyes. This breath, the Void Dragon Emperor. I didn't expect that there are still Dragon Emperors surviving among the creatures of Jiazhou. Brickler continued to try to summon the space crack twice, and found that it still failed. He looked down at King Niu, who was in the initial stage of Shengming realm on the ground, and said to himself, "What do you mean? You want to trap me and then what? Let me kill this cow." The Vajra returned to King Niu's neck. King Niu looked at the Dragon Emperor who was slowly landing in front of him, and he obviously remembered who was coming. "If I remember correctly, you should be the fourth Dragon Emperor Brickler," King Niu said in a simple voice. Brickler was not in a hurry to take action. She looked at the ant creature in front of her with interest. "Oh, you know me. Then you are very brave. Do you know you can't run away?" King Niu said to himself. The fourth Dragon Emperor came here to help the sixth Dragon Emperor break the seal. No, if he knew, he would have come earlier. You didn't know the sixth Dragon Emperor was here before. He came with the human race? Is he targeting the human race? Brickler was unhappy. Hey, I'm talking to you. I'm going to kill you. Can you react? King Niu looked at the fourth Dragon Emperor expressionlessly. Everyone in Jiazhou has said before that the fourth Dragon Emperor has the lowest IQ among the Dragon Emperors. Now I finally understand. You are trapped here, but you are still so confident. You are trapped. Can't you see the situation clearly? Brickler knew that he was the dumbest among all the Dragon Emperors, but it was hard not to be angry when being ridiculed by an ant creature. You are looking for death. Kill you. Then I can get out. It may not be me who is going to fall. King Niu's honest voice came. Two space cracks suddenly appeared beside King Niu, and two creatures walked out of the cracks. Brickler's face darkened sharply after sensing the breath of the newcomers. One of the figures said, "I've been looking for you for so long. So you're here. I thought you were going to hide until the void attacks." Another figure jokingly replied, "Third Prince, you can't even handle this long worm whose realm has fallen to the peak of Shengming." King Niu silently retreated after seeing his companions and slowly said, "Great sage, Third Prince, the Dragon Emperor is in your hands. I'm leaving now. I'm afraid of getting beaten." Sun Wukong looked at the Vajra hanging on King Niu's neck with a bad look in his eyes. "Don't bother us." Neza didn't reply, and his eyes only showed his mortal enemy for so many years. Chapter 267, Backsliding. At 8 o'clock in the evening, all the servers that had been offline for us came online at this time in a tacit agreement. The US server commander was hard to satisfy, Ken and Julie. After going online, he immediately scanned the progress screen of all servers and immediately saw that the Chinese server ranked first had already surpassed the second ranked Southeast Asian server by a long way. Ken and Julie asked Kaiang, "Why is the progress of the Chinese server so fast?" Kaiang said what she thought. Ken and Julie pondered for a while and finally said, "Your idea is right, but I always feel something is strange. I also think that the Chinese server is a good guy, but I'm not sure whether the Southeast Asian server is also a good guy camp. If the Southeast Asian server has been dormant for a while, but their identity is the werewolf camp, then once the Chinese server gets the first place, the Southeast Asian server will suffer." Kaiang also thought it made sense. "What do you mean?" Ken and Julie, "To be safe, we still have to ensure that the Southeast Asian server gets the first place. This is always right." Kaiang did not speak to express her consent. Ken and Julie hesitated again and again, but still chose to take action against the Chinese server. Use random blocking skill. Blocking skill specifies server, China server. Random skill is regress, specify a server, and make the server progress regress one region. The players in China server also received a system message at this time. This is being targeted by the US server. It seems that the US server is taking special care of the Southeast Asian server. It really intends to form an alliance with them. Countless beams of light shone down from the sky and enveloped all the players participating in the event in China server. The player's screen was distorted and appeared directly in the center of the Wuwei region. Then he saw 3 creatures not far away. Huh. There are other creatures here? Why didn't I notice them before? Fuck. That's the 4th Dragon Emperor. How come this woman is here? Why are the Great Sage and the 3rd Prince also here? Isn't the 6th Dragon Emperor sealed under the Wuwei area? I guess this woman is here to dig up his grave. So what do we do now? Stay to help or keep moving forward? Liang Ting immediately issued an order on the world channel. After discovering the situation in front of her, all level 4 players stay to fight in a group. The rest of the players go to the chaotic area coordinates of the US server. Facing the battle at the peak of Shengming, players of level 3 and below who stayed would basically be killed, and only level 4 players could probably help. Liang Ting asked the players below level 4 to leave and told them to act according to the previous method. If they met a friendly race, they should form an alliance. If they met a stubborn race, they should just go through and settle accounts with them later. The sudden arrival of the human race was also noticed by the 3 Shengming creatures. Sun Wukong and Neza looked at each other, both with surprised expressions in their eyes. The human race was too fast. They had just arrived in Wuwei to encircle Brickler, and the human race had already smelled the scent. Brickler found that the human race was not taken seriously at first, just ants, except that there were more of them. There was no threat. Later, he found that the human race was much stronger than the ones he had encountered before, and the human race that stayed had the strength of the spirit realm. Brickler couldn't believe it. Was he tricked? The human race had used the 6th Dragon Emperor to lure him here and ambush him. Exclamation mark. Hundreds of thousands of 4th level players in the Chinese server collectively formed an encirclement around Brickler. While Liang Ting approached Sun Wukong and Neza, she also applied for the server battle command. Although normal play was fine, the battle command also had honor points to mix. The 4th level honor set has been updated to the purple level, and the honor points required for redemption are simply abnormal. Sun Wukong scratched his chin and asked the human beside him, "Human, why are you here?" Liang Ting whimpered for a while and replied weakly, "If I say I don't know, do you believe me?" Neza looked at the human with a friendly expression. He had fought with the human before and still trusted and admired the human's fighting character that was not afraid of sacrifice. "It's useless for you to stay here. You are not strong enough to shake the strength of the 4th Dragon Emperor," Neza said. "Are you asking us to leave? Are you kidding? How could this be possible? Compared with the punishment and reward of the event, the benefits of killing the 4th Dragon Emperor are much greater. As long as the 4th Dragon Emperor is killed, it won't be painful to lose the event." Liang Ting smiled and said, "Don't worry, we are ready to die with the 4th Dragon Emperor." Sun Wukong and Neza glanced at the hundreds of thousands of human beings and found that all human beings had obtained inheritance, and many of them were their own. Neza stopped talking when he saw Lan Zifeng, but he was a little reluctant in his heart. He had finally found a human race that was most compatible with his heritage, and he had already succeeded in inheriting it. If they started fighting, he would easily die. Sun Wukong took out a stick from his ear and stared at the 4th Dragon Emperor. "If you are willing to stay, don't blame me if you die." After saying that, his body disappeared and rushed towards the 4th Dragon Emperor at a speed exceeding the speed of sound. If the Chinese server players present had not already reached the 4th level and their strength had been greatly improved, they would probably not even be able to see the residual image. No mistakes. Brickler was not afraid of Neza, but she was a little scared when facing this monkey who fought desperately. At this time, she was trapped in this area and could not leave, so she could only fight. When Sun Wukong attacked him, Brickler also rushed towards Sun Wukong. The golden hoop collided with the black claws, and the airflow generated directly spread all over the surrounding oasis, and the land under the feet of the two even cracked. Sun Wukong drew out his golden cudgel and chose to fight back with injuries instead of defending. Unlike Neza's lotus root body, Sun Wukong was not afraid of being injured by the 4th Dragon Emperor. Neza muttered to the human race, "Stay still." Then he transformed into a fire spear, a wine fire wheel, and a mixed sky silk and rushed towards the 4th Dragon Emperor. Liang Ting didn't know why Neza suddenly cared so much about the human race. When he drove Brickler away in the Iron Prison area, he ignored all the dragon soldiers left on the field. Brickler and Sun Wukong fought evenly. Brickler kept defending with black claws and was embarrassed by Sun Wukong's gangster style. If he was at his peak, he would never be bullied like this. When he saw Neza running towards him, Brickler knew that he would definitely not win against 2 people alone, and he immediately thought of a countermeasure in his mind. He broke away from Sun Wukong's close range, bypassed Neza's attack, and ran towards the human race at full speed. Before the Chinese server players could react, Brickler had already appeared in the middle of them. Her idea was simple. As long as you are among the human race, the 2 of you will not dare to attack with all your strength, which will affect the human race, and she can use their fear to do whatever she wants. What does this woman want to do here? She came to us to let us hurt her? Oh my god, I was waiting for this woman to get beaten up and come up to pick up the heads. Fuck her. Is there a possibility that she wants us to take the knife? Chapter 268, Grey Mist. It is difficult for the US server to satisfy the commander, Ken and Julie. After using the blocking skill on the Chinese server, the mind was also on the Chinese server. When the Chinese server left some players in the retreat position, the number of players on the Chinese server dropped sharply, which surprised the US server. What's going on? Blocking skills can still cause damage? Why are there so many players on the Chinese server? Haven't they been through that area before? Why is this happening? Could it be that the werewolves attacked the Chinese server? Oh my god, I feel that our US server is too heavy on them. At this time, in the Wuwei area, all the 4th turn players on the Chinese server flew and scattered collectively, throwing all the skills in their hands at the 4th Dragon Emperor. It must be said that the professional skills after the 4th turn are very gorgeous. Whether it is a close range player or a long range player, the skills in their hands are thrown out as if they don't need mana. Although the damage is very low, at least it is not like scraping in the Iron Prison area before. Liang Ting used the werewolf skill on the Southeast Asian server while commanding the battle. Our Chinese server is not going to have a good time. You can't expect to be at ease. In order to hide his identity as the guard of the server, the Southeast Asian server commander Chunshu, soft yellow, basically didn't guard himself. When he was hit by the werewolf skill, 100,000 active players disappeared in an instant. The 2 servers ranked 1st and 2nd were hit hard at the same time. The Japanese, Russian, and Korean servers that were catching up with the progress behind were racing desperately. This phenomenon made the American server commander Ken and Julie very upset. Wrong, we shouldn't have taken action against the Chinese server. Although we don't know why the Chinese server was suddenly hit hard, at least they are the most obvious good guys. The Japanese, Russian, and Korean servers all noticed the progress. The 3 server commanders all felt that this was an opportunity, especially the Japanese server commander Fuji's and Screwucker, Ichironomoto. The Japanese server, which was originally ranked 3rd, accelerated desperately. The European server sent a private message to Liang Ting immediately. What's wrong with you? Why did the progress drop so suddenly? It was messed up by the American server, and then we found that the 4th Dragon Emperor was in the area we passed before, and we were fighting a battle. Beg William. Can it be like this? Exclamation mark. In the Wuwei area, Sun Wukong and Neza saw the 4th Dragon Emperor's actions and knew her plan. They were indeed afraid that their actions would affect the human race. However, the next second, unexpectedly, the human race chose to fight the 4th Dragon Emperor. The behavior of the human race was undoubtedly seeking death in the eyes of the 3 holy creatures. Brickler had thought of many ways to deal with the human race, but she didn't consider that the human race would be so tough. Of course, she could instantly wipe out a large number of human creatures, but if that happened, Sun Wukong and Neza would let go. While exchanging injuries with the 4th Dragon Emperor, the players shouted to Sun Wukong and Neza, "Brother Dashi, 3rd Prince, don't have mercy on us. Beat this woman to death. Everyone must die. Some are more important than Mount Tay. Some are more important than Mount Tay. We are willing to use our bodies in exchange for a piece of the human race's future. The human race is not afraid of death. Come on. Use our flesh and blood. in exchange for her bruised face. There's nothing to be afraid of. The head fell off. It's just a scar as big as a bowl. Hearing that the human race is so fearless of death, not only Sun Wukong and Neza, but even Brickler was moved. Sun Wukong and Neza saw that so many of the human race, who had their heritage, were constantly dying, and they were both relieved and distressed. Although they knew that the human race would not enter the reincarnation, in their minds, the human race would inevitably pay a huge price. Although Sun Wukong was impulsive, he was not a fool. He knew that, if he continued to be timid, the human race would only suffer more casualties, and he couldn't continue like this. After exchanging a glance with Neza, Sun Wukong swung up his golden hoop, and appeared behind Brickler, smashing it hard. Brickler did not expect Sun Wukong to be so decisive. He turned into a ball of black mist, and appeared far away from the human race. Just as Brickler stood firm, a scorching fireball attacked him. Brickler was about to dodge again, but Sun Wukong appeared behind him, and blocked his way back. Brickler knew that Sun Wukong was going to block his way back, and welcome the baptism of fire together. What a good plan. No matter how hard his body was, it could not compare to Sun Wukong's body. But this was an open conspiracy. Brickler had no choice but to block the attack of the golden hoop with his right hand and stretch out his left and right hands to block the baptism of the fireball. With a boom, the fireball ignited around Brickler, and the power of the explosion directly created a huge pit with a radius of 100 meters. The flames dispersed, leaving behind the land burned by the blazing flames. Players saw that in the big pit, Sun Wukong patted his hair covered with sparks. Brickler's right hand was broken by the golden hoop, black blood kept flowing from his left arm, and the black robe on his body was also burned to pieces. Neza's full strength attack saw that he could severely injure the fourth Dragon Emperor, grinning with satisfaction, and raised the fire spear just about to step forward and attack the fourth Dragon Emperor with Sun Wukong. The injured Brickler roared in anger, and a strong black aura appeared all over her body. Sun Wukong and Neza steadied their steps. Although the fourth Dragon Emperor's realm fell to the peak of Shengming, she had the realm of beheading a corpse in her heyday. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. This kind of deterrent power of releasing the original aura made Sun Wukong and Neza alert. Brickler shouted angrily, "You are looking for death." Sun Wukong was not the type to sit and wait for death. He swung the golden cudgel. His whole body was filled with golden aura. The weapon in his hand instantly grew larger, and he raised his hand and threw it at the fourth Dragon Emperor with all his strength. The golden cudgel shot rapidly towards the fourth Dragon Emperor. Just as it was about to hit the enemy, Brickler was wrapped in a black ball, blocking the attack of the golden cudgel. Players saw the black ball continue to grow larger until it became the size of several football fields, and the black solid on the outer layer of the black ball gradually peeled off, and a familiar creature appeared in the Wu-Wei area. Neza shouted, "Great Sage. This is her true form." Sun Wukong grinned, recalled the golden cudgel and growled, "So what if you turn into a worm? I will still smash your head off." After that, his eyes turned golden, and the wind around him began to stir violently. Sun Wukong's hair stood up and growled, "Law of heaven and earth." Sun Wukong, who was originally the size of a human, suddenly grew larger, and the golden cudgel in his hand also became thicker. Neza saw that Sun Wukong also transformed into his original form, and appeared in front of the human race. In this level of battle, the human race will inevitably be affected if they are present, so they must protect them. Brickler in the form of a black dragon said, "Milano, if you are still alive, tell me where you are." The faces of Sun Wukong and Neza, who had grown bigger, changed drastically when they heard the black dragon's words. This guy knew that he could not escape, so he planned to desperately help the sixth Dragon Emperor break the seal. A ball of grey mist appeared in the distance, and the location was exactly the direction where King Neo was hiding. King Neo felt the breath beside him. His eyes were solemn, and he said to himself, "It's been so many years, and you are still so angry. Isn't it good to stay here peacefully? Don't think about it. I won't let you out, including the fourth Dragon Emperor. The two of you stay here with me." As if hearing King Neo's words, the mist became agitated rapidly, and more grey gas dissipated from the mist. A voice came from the mist. "King Neo, long time no see. King Neo said, yes, long time no see. Chapter 269, 4th Transformation Dungeon. You have trapped me for so many years, and have stayed with me all the time. It's hard for you. King Neo, Laojin said at the beginning that, if you are willing to stay here for 10,000 years, he will let you go when the time limit is up. 10,000 years is not a long time. If the void cannot come, I'm willing to wait for 10,000 years, but you and I both know that once the void arrives in the world of Jiazhao, I will break the seal no matter what. King Neo, after so many years, you are still so stubborn. If you break the seal by force, you will die. I know, but I don't have much time left. Haha, he risked his life to pierce my heart meridian. Since then, I have no hope of living. King Neo, among all the dragon emperors, Laojin thinks that you are the only kind one. You are also the only one who is unwilling to massacre the creatures of Jiazhao with other dragon emperors. If you were not so impulsive and forcefully rescued the second dragon emperor, the creatures of the Jiazhao world would not kill you. It's an old story, there is no need to mention it again. King Neo was silent for a while, and said to the grey mist, forget it. If you promise not to interfere in the affairs of the void and Jiazhao, I will plead with Laojin for you. King Neo, thank you for your company for countless years. If you hadn't chatted with me all these years, I might have gone crazy. King Neo knew the other party's determination when he heard this, and sighed. There were only tens of thousands of 4th level players left in the Chinese server. Looking at the two saints fighting in the sky, they suddenly received a server notification from the system. A copy has been generated in the Wuwei area, the tomb of the 6th Dragon Emperor. Copy number limit, none. Copy level limit, 4th level or above. Copy team limit, 6 people. The 6th Dragon Emperor Milano is the only Dragon Emperor creature in the void who does not covet killing. Because the arrow god's descendant pierced his heart vein with his heart blood, he has been silent in the Wuwei area for many years to recuperate. However, his heart vein was damaged, and he has no ability to go back, and his lifespan has come to an end. There are countless void creatures of the 6th Dragon Emperor's legion living in the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb. Because the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb is swept by the might of the descendants of the arrow god, killing the void creatures of the 6th Dragon Emperor's legion can gain experience, soul points, honor points, and a certain chance of obtaining the inheritance of the descendants of the arrow god. The inheritance of the descendants of the arrow god can be carried and sold. The 6th Dragon Emperor Milano was seriously injured, so the void creatures in the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb are in a frenzy. Dungeon tasks. 1. Clear the void creatures in the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb. 2. Find the location of the 6th Dragon Emperor Milano. The roars of countless creatures came from the great tomb in trance. Sun Wukong and the 4th Dragon Emperor Breakler both noticed it. The former tried to stop the 4th Dragon Emperor from approaching, and the latter tried to prevent the other party from destroying it. Both tried their best to restrict each other. Neza was about to persuade the human race to leave and not make more fearless sacrifices, but he found that the human race behind him was running madly towards the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb with red eyes. Fuck Li Liang. This is a 4th level dungeon. Fuck the event. We have this dungeon. Let the European server play by itself. American server. Thank you. American server will be the most steadfast ally of our Chinese server in the future. Good brother, let's get a blanket. Did you make a typo above? Liang Ting was also confused by this sudden dungeon. Now it is an event period, and she is still the event commander. If you want to enter the dungeon, you have to form a 6-person team. How to do it? Exclamation mark. In the end, Liang Ting couldn't resist the temptation of the 6th Dragon Emperor tomb dungeon, and said on the world channel, everyone, Wuwei area is facing dire straits. I will leave the team for this event. After the event, please let the Chinese server players who are on the front line vote for a new event commander, or fight on their own, and go to the American server coordinates on their own. After that, Liang Ting left the team directly. Just like Liang Ting's operation, all the 4th level players in Wuwei area left the team, and formed a new 6-person team. The Chinese server player who was on the front line saw the lies of his commander on the world channel, and was very upset. Although the dungeon was limited to the 4th level, did you think we couldn't see the announcement? Women are really good at lying. Be responsible. You are the Chinese server commander. Are you kidding me? Do you believe we are rebelling against you? Situation, right? Is there no law in planet? Liang Ting pretended not to see the lies of the Chinese server player on the world channel and sent a private message to the European server commander, BG William, saying, I can't deceive the players of this server, so I can't deceive you? European server commander, I'm sorry, the Chinese server has suffered a heavy blow due to an unexpected situation. I will no longer be able to serve as the activity commander of the Chinese server. In order to cover the rest of the players, the 4th level players of the Chinese server were almost wiped out. The escaping Chinese server players are rushing to the coordinates of the US server at full speed. I hope the European server will not give up and win the ranking of this event. Vegeta, Vegetarian William, the European server commander who was driving a tank, was stunned when he saw the private message from the Chinese server commander. What's going on? Can't the US server only use blocking skills? Why are the 4th level players of your Chinese server wiped out? Exclamation mark. What did you encounter? Hey. King Neo lay at the entrance of the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb, looking at tens of thousands of human beings surrounding himself, and said, if you want to enter the crack, you need to pay 10,000 soul points as an entrance fee. If you want to enter the crack, please put the soul value into the jar next to the crack. King Neo directly transformed into a space jar. Although I don't know what the soul value is, Leojin just told me that, as long as the human race doesn't give the soul value, they won't be allowed to enter. The players of the Chinese server are no longer surprised. This is the nature of the official dog. They are unwilling to open the Krypton Guild page and try every means to harm the soul value in our hands. This is the case with the dungeon and the NPC set in the game. Here specifically referring to Fukai. The players consciously submitted the soul value to the jar. King Neo looked at these so-called soul values in amazement. This is the soul of life. Why do humans have such pure souls? Question mark. And there are so many. Question mark. Neza suddenly appeared next to the tomb of the 6th Dragon Emperor and asked King Neo with a gloomy face, Senior King Neo, are you going to let the human race enter the space of the 6th Dragon Emperor? King Neo nodded, and Neza gritted his teeth. This will ruin the future of the human race. They don't have the strength to fight against the 6th Dragon Emperor. King Neo slowly said, Third Prince, it is our consensus that the human race will not enter reincarnation. They will not die, and this is the order of Leojin. Neza was stunned. Leojin's order? Exclamation mark. The players of the Chinese server were a little confused when they heard what Neza said. What does it mean? Are they not letting us in? I have given all my soul points, and you want to take our soul points for free. You are robbing me and ruining my future. We will become enemies this way. Players began to persuade him. Third Prince, we humans are here voluntarily. You don't listen to us, but you have to listen to Leojin. We humans are willing to make a small contribution to the world of living beings. Don't persuade us anymore, or we will beat you up. A scholar must be broad-minded and resolute. The road ahead is long and arduous. Do you understand? Let's say goodbye now. We can talk about it later, when we visit the graves on King Ming Festival. Neza heard the inappropriate words of the humans around him, and hesitated about Leojin's order. Although he didn't know why Leojin had such an order, he finally sighed, stepped aside, and let the players in. Chapter 270, Jumping to the Prophet. When the 4th Dragon Emperor Brickler saw that the remaining human race actually chose to enter Milano's space, he smiled and said calmly, they are really courting death. A group of ants are actually trying to stop the Dragon Emperor from breaking the seal. Although Sun Wukong is a fighting Buddha, he is only at the peak of Shengming in his origin. The battle with the 4th Dragon Emperor is very strenuous. Although the 4th Dragon Emperor Brickler is at the same level as himself at this time, the opponent is at the level of beheading a corpse in his origin. The strength and aura emitted by the 4th Dragon Emperor, which is higher than his own level, affects Sun Wukong's attack all the time. Neza was unable to participate in the battle because he had to protect the human race. At this time, all the human race had entered the space of the 6th Dragon Emperor. Without any worries, he directly transformed into a 3-headed and 6-armed person. His body continued to grow, and he leaped up and rushed towards the 4th Dragon Emperor. The three of them kept fighting in the sky. Every attack of Brickler was accompanied by the pouring of black energy. Sun Wukong and Neza avoided the influence of the black energy while constantly looking for opportunities to counterattack the fourth Dragon Emperor. In just a quarter of an hour, all three of them were injured. Black blood continued to ooze out of the black scales on Brickla's body, dripping onto the ground and causing the grass to wither instantly. Sun Wukong and Neza were even worse off. The former had several deep blood marks on his chest and back from the claws, with golden blood flowing continuously. The latter had 2 arms torn off from his 3 heads and 6 arms, and only 2 were left on his head. The fourth Dragon Emperor Brickla slowly spoke, "If you keep fighting, you too will fall here." Sun Wukong bared his teeth, held his chest in pain, and looked at the fourth Dragon Emperor angrily. Neza's injuries had not yet healed, and now he was hit hard again. At this time, he recalled his 3 heads and 6 arms. His face flushed, and he didn't say a word, struggling to hold on. The blue bull suddenly appeared between Sun Wukong and Neza. Brickla was not afraid of the 2 guys he had fought before, but he was very wary of this bull. It was only the strength of the early stage of Shengming, but it made him feel threatened and uneasy. King Neo spoke slowly, "Fourth Dragon Emperor, I will open the barrier. Can you leave now?" Sun Wukong growled, "Can't let him leave. I can still fight with her for hundreds of rounds." King Neo and Neza looked at Sun Wukong silently. "Don't you know how serious your injuries are?" Brickla held up the huge black dragon head and said, "Kill you all, and then rescue Milano, and I will leave naturally." The diamond cutter on King Neo's neck flew out again automatically, and 2 space cracks directly covered Sun Wukong and Neza, forcibly driving them out of the Wuwei area. Brickla looked at the diamond cutter solemnly, and King Neo said, "They can't get in. Are you sure you don't want to leave?" Brickla fell silent, and after a while she turned back into human form. The tattered black robe was restored to its original state. Brickla, who looked like a girl, said crisply, "You let the human race enter Milano's space, and then drove me away. Are you planning to let the human race deal with Milano?" King Neo said, "Except for the human race who can enter the space of the 6th Dragon Emperor, I will not let any other creatures enter. This is my promise." Brickla suddenly grinned, "If you keep your promise, I cannot do anything to Milano's space. When the human race is completely wiped out, I will come back again to help Milano break the seal." King Neo said, "You'd better heal your injuries. You are only in the saintly realm, which is not enough for me to consider your bold words." Brickla was not annoyed. "It won't take long for me to recover to the corpse-slaying realm. Moreover, the void is coming, and the abyss will take the opportunity to enter. The Kaishu world will be completely wiped out." King Neo recalled the diamond cutter, opened the barrier that wrapped the Wuwei area, and said slowly, "The saints of the Chananji sects really didn't hurt your 2 worlds at the beginning. You have been sealed in Jia's house for so long, and you are still so arrogant. It seems that the essence of the void and the abyss is evil. This time, the saints will not let your 2 worlds leave again." As if being stepped on the tail, Brickla suddenly burst into a black aura and roared angrily, "The 2 saints of the Chananji sects in your Jiazhou have perished together with the Emperor of the Void and the Abyss. What confidence do you have in Jiazhou to be so shameless?" King Neo turned and left, and suddenly turned back and said, "The Emperor of the Void and the Abyss did fall, but who told you that the saints of the Ji and Chan sects also fell?" Brickla looked at the leaving King Neo in astonishment, and the black aura dissipated instantly. "The 2 saints did not fall?" Exclamation mark. "How is it possible?" At this time, there was no breath of life in the Wuwei area. There was only the space entrance of the 6th Dragon Emperor flowing with grey mist. Brickla stared at the space entrance for a while, then turned around and summoned the space crack and stepped directly into it, leaving the Wuwei area. Now she urgently needed to restore her heyday. After Liang Ting left the team, she humbly asked in her friend list if anyone wanted to be in the same team with her. After all, her 4th level profession was really bad, and the amount of milk depended entirely on luck. 4th level Ahad profession, Shan Wuiyang, Nongjun. Okay, you can start a team. 4th level sword immortal profession, Jiangxing, Yi Jian. Okay, I'll give you a favor. 4th level bodhisattva profession, Zhao. Old monk uses shampoo. Amitabha, monks are compassionate. Since you are so shameless, I will reluctantly agree to you. No mistakes in one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. Look. 4th turn war Buddha profession. He yang. Woohoo. Okay, I'm responsible for sneak attacks anyway. Just don't heal me. 4th turn ring explosion profession. Stormwind. Mage is the father. Okay, I'll provide my own blood and blue. Don't repay kindness with hatred, I tell you. Except for Shan Wuang, Nongjin, who spoke human words. The other friends disgusted Liang Ting. They injured their temper and invited them to join the group one by one and entered the dungeon without saying a word. If you say one more word to them, you will be afraid of myocardial infarction. At this time, the Chinese server players on the front line, because they lacked hundreds of thousands of 4th turn combat power, were determined not to communicate with any race of creatures along the way and rushed to the coordinates. Because the goal was clear along the way, they were determined to run away, and the progress was little by little to catch up with the first-ranked Southeast Asian server. It is difficult to satisfy the commander of the US server, Kenan Jali. Now it is embarrassed to attack the Chinese server again, because of their own willful behavior. The Chinese server has suffered a lot. Now the US server is disgusting the Japanese server. Once the blocking skill is ready, the target is designated as the Japanese server. The Japanese server commander, Fugism Screwman, Ichiro Nemoto, was taken care of by the American server 3 times. The first time, he was forced to be in heat. The second time, he stayed where he was, and the third time was the most disgusting. Every time he advanced 1 kilometer, the corresponding soul value was automatically deducted from his backpack, making the Japanese server players dare not move. As the slowest and most pitiful werewolf among all servers, the European server saw that the Chinese server was ranked second and was about to catch up with the Southeast Asian server. With hope in his heart, the werewolf skills continued to take care of the Southeast Asian server. The Southeast Asian server saw that the progress was less than 10%. Since the start of the activity, it has been taken care of by the werewolves 3 times. It could not bear it anymore and began to guard itself, but because of the reasons of the previous times, the progress at this time gradually became the same as that of the Chinese server. For the Southeast Asian server commander Chunshu, Ruan Huang, it doesn't matter which server ranks first between the Chinese server and the Southeast Asian server. Anyway, in Ruan Huang's mind, the Chinese server is also a good person. He just doesn't like why the werewolves have to disgust him when he is so low-key. The Japanese server commander Ichiro Nemoto saw that he had no chance of getting first place. Having only verified his identity twice, he decided to report it and shouted on the activity channel of all servers, "We, the Japanese server, are the prophets." The first verification confirmed that the European server is a werewolf. The second verification confirmed that the Korean server is a good guy. The words of the Japanese server immediately detonated all servers. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271, Ranking Announcement. European server, what the hell? We are werewolves? We are fucking civilians. Have you ever seen a werewolf ranked last? The Japanese server is definitely a wolf. He is slandering our European server. Korean server, I believe the European server is a civilian. Because I'm also a civilian. Russian server, you are a civilian, so the European server is a civilian. What kind of logic is that? What does being a civilian prove? That's right, if both of you are civilians, then what are we Russian servers? I'm also a civilian in the Russian server, plus you 2 civilians, 3 civilians? Southeast Asian server, one of the 3 civilians must be a werewolf, and one of the Japanese and European servers must also be a werewolf. American server, that's right, I think there are 2 camps now. The Japanese and Russian servers are werewolves, or the European and Korean servers are werewolves. I personally would like to believe that the European and Korean servers are civilians. After all, they are ranked first and second to last. Yeah, it would be outrageous if the European and Korean servers are werewolves. I have never seen such a crappy werewolf. The Russian server was anxious A civilian like him was targeted for no reason and was even accused of being a werewolf. He immediately called out to the Chinese server on the activity channel, "Big brother of the Chinese server, come out and say something fair." Except for the European server, all other servers thought that the Chinese server was the good guy. Now, they all called out to the Chinese server on the activity channel. The European server almost laughed out loud. What the hell, is the Chinese server recognized as a good guy? Then the werewolf is safe. The Chinese server said in bewilderment, "I didn't expect someone would jump to my identity as a prophet. The first thing I checked was the European server, and it was in the good camp. The second thing I checked was the Southeast Asian server, which was ranked similar to me, and it was also in the good camp. I wanted to hide it, but I didn't expect the Japanese server to jump to the prophet. Then you are doomed. What I can be sure of now is that the Southeast Asian server and the European server are the good guys, and the Japanese server is a werewolf. I haven't checked other servers yet, so I don't know." The Japanese server exploded instantly. "The Chinese server is lying. We Japanese servers are the prophets. The Chinese server is a wolf. The European server is also a wolf. Believe me." The Southeast Asian server came out directly. "I'm a guard. I have guarded the Chinese server once before and successfully resisted an attack by a werewolf on the Chinese server." European server, "The case is solved." The thief cried thief. The werewolf in the Japanese server jumped to the prophet in order to frame us European servers. That's amazing. He framed us, a server ranked last. What was he thinking? He slandered me. He slandered me. At this time, even the Russian server was confused and always felt that something was wrong. The Russian server believed in the Chinese server. Since the Chinese server said that it was a prophet and verified that the European server was a civilian, then the European server and the Russian server were civilians, so the Japanese server and the Korean server were wolves? Question mark? Russian server, "Sorry European server, we Russian servers were wrong, but I'm really a civilian. Our two servers are civilians, and the Japanese server and the Korean server are wolves." European server, "Well, I believe you, but I didn't expect that the Korean server, as our European server's ally, actually lied to us. Damn it. I will never believe in the Korean server again. We are the last one, and you still want to mess with us. You are the opposite of Gang." The Korean server was instantly sick. "What the hell? Question mark? We Korean servers are werewolves? European server, you don't believe us? Exclamation mark. Don't listen to the Russian server. They and the Japanese server are werewolves. We didn't lie to you. The Japanese and Russian servers are so disgusting." All the Japanese server members were dumbfounded, and all the players shouted on the activity channel, "Fuck. You believe us. Don't be fooled by the werewolves. The Chinese server and the European server are both wolves. Don't believe the Chinese server." The American server, quickly use blocking skills on the Chinese server. Southeast Asian server, you mean that the Chinese server, as a werewolf, used the werewolf skills on itself right from the start? Yeah, how do you explain that? Not only that, you said that the Chinese server and the European server are werewolves. Two servers, one is killing itself, and the other ranks last. Are there any werewolves as stupid as this? The Chinese server and the European server were silent. Can I scold him? Personal attack. The US server made the final conclusion. Okay, anyway, the Southeast Asian server is confirmed to be the guard. The Chinese server is confirmed to be the prophet. The European server is confirmed to be the civilian. The Japanese server is confirmed to be the werewolf. And the remaining Russian and Korean servers have one wolf and one civilian. I will continue to use blocking skills to attack the Japanese server. As for the Korean and Russian servers, they are not important. They are ranked at the bottom and can't make any waves. Don't pay attention to them. European server, that's right. Anyway, now we know that the first and second ranked are on the good side. In this case, we in the European server are not afraid, even if we rank last. Come on, both of you. Southeast Asian server, Chinese server, let's ignore them. Just take the first and second places. Chinese server, okay, please advise. Muah. Japanese server, it's all nonsense and swear words. No server pays attention. No mistake in one poem, one post, one content, one book, one forum. Korean, the Russians are definitely wolves. Russian, what the hell are you talking about, you Koreans? You werewolves are so shameless. The US promised to use blocking skills to take care of the Japanese. The Southeast Asians were no longer in a hurry. The rewards for the first and second place were both good. It didn't matter who was first, so they began to slow down their pace and randomly used guard skills between their own servers and the Chinese servers. The Chinese servers secretly tried their best to hurry up and directly won the first place when the Southeast Asian servers relaxed and ran desperately towards the US coordinates. No one paid attention to the Japanese servers anymore, and the US servers immediately used blocking skills to punish them. The Korean and Russian servers simply stopped hurrying. Anyway, the first and second place were both good people, and they knew they were good people, so they began to taunt each other crazily. The European servers had already started to play badly, staying where they were, and some even chose to go back to the city to prepare to log off and rest. BG Williams silently used the werewolf skills that had been cooled down to deal with the Southeast Asian servers, ensuring that the Chinese teammate won the first place. Ruan Huang, the Southeast Asian server commander who was still hesitating whether to protect himself or the Chinese server, was speechless. The Japanese server was not satisfied with him jumping the guard to speak for the Chinese server. He actually used the werewolf skill on us. Is it useful? It's unnecessary. There is less than 10% of the journey progress left. The werewolf has already used the skill with a 2-hour cooldown. Then he simply doesn't need to protect it. Let the Chinese server be first. The final time stopped at 11 o'clock in the evening. The Chinese server successfully won the first place in the event. The system directly began to settle the rewards, and the ranking was determined by the progress completion. First place, Chinese server, werewolf. Second place, Southeast Asian server, guard. Third place, Japanese server, prophet. Fourth place, Korean server, civilian. Fifth place, Russian server, civilian. Sixth place, European server, werewolf. The moment the ranking came out, countless players on the event channel sent out, "What's going on? The Chinese server is a wolf. Fuck. The Japanese server is actually a prophet. This is outrageous. The Chinese server used the werewolf skill on itself right from the start. It's disgusting to us. Is this the cooperation between the Chinese server and the European server? Is it so scary? The generally recognized good guy is actually a wolf. I'm already worried about the system punishment. What should I do?" Chapter 272, The Sixth Dragon Emperor's Tomb. The event is over, and the rewards and penalties are announced. Chinese server, ranking reward, penalty. All players participating in the event on the server will have their level increased by 1. Identity reward, penalty. 15% of the soul value of the main city of the Japanese, Korean, Russian, and Southeast Asian servers will be obtained. Southeast Asian server, ranking reward, penalty. Players participating in the event on the server will receive 10,000 soul value, identity reward, penalty. 15% of the soul value of the main city will be deducted. Japanese server, ranking reward, penalty. Players participating in the event on the server will receive double experience for 1 day, identity reward, penalty. 15% of the soul value of the main city will be deducted. Korean server, ranking reward, penalty. Players participating in the event on the server will have 10,000 soul value deducted, identity reward, penalty. 15% of the soul value of the main city will be deducted. Russian server, ranking reward, penalty. Players participating in the event on the server will have 20% experience deducted from their current level, identity reward, penalty. 15% of the soul value of the main city will be deducted. European server, ranking reward, penalty. 10% of the soul value of the main city of the server will be deducted, identity reward, penalty. 15% of the soul value of the main city of the Japanese, Korean, Russian, and Southeast Asian servers will be obtained. The experience points deducted from the ranking will be equally divided among the players in the US server, and the soul points deducted from the ranking will belong to the main city treasury of the US server. I'm numb. The emperor's business was not even halfway done when his family fell into decline. Where's the commander of the Chinese server? Come out and accept our condemnation. That's right. The commander of the Chinese server has never spoken. Do you look down on us? Are you disgusting us here? While venting their resentment, the players silently activated the return scroll. The good camp was completely autistic this time. As soon as the event ranking was over, they really didn't want to stay in the game for a moment. Players from all over the world were really disgusting. Because the Chinese server knew that the commander and the main force were in the dungeon, even if they arrived at the coordinates of the US server first, they didn't want to stay any longer. They just sent some night owl players to stay in the US server area to understand the environment, and the rest of them returned to the city. As the last one, the European server activated the return scroll when it confirmed that the wolf teammate of the Chinese server was the last one. The Korean and Russian civilians had previously abused each other, but now they felt a sense of sympathy for each other. They were also unwilling to go to the US server coordinates. In addition, they were exhausted after being online for such a long time and chose to go back to the city to rest. The Japanese server originally planned to strive for an alliance with the US server in this event, but seeing how the US server took care of them during the event, they felt that there was little hope and chose to give up. The Southeast Asian commander got the idea of the US server commander and led the Southeast Asian players to continue to go to the US server to discuss the details of the alliance and help the US server to clear the hostile races in the chaotic area. At this moment, because of the battle between Sun Wukong, Nezha and the 4th Dragon Emperor Brickler, the entire area of Wuwei was filled with black and red flames. The earth was severely deformed, and the trees, flowers, and plants withered because of Brickler's blood. King Niu, a lone cow, had no choice but to clean up the mess. From time to time, he looked back at the space entrance of the 6th Dragon Emperor. All the human race had entered, and he didn't know what would happen inside. After Liangting, Yi Jian, Nangjun, Zhao Mu, Lan Zifeng, and Yi Yang formed a team and entered the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb dungeon. The distorted picture slowly stabilized, and what came into view was the surrounding walls one after another. The friend system could not be opened, and messages could not be sent in all chat channels, except the team channel. Liangting, it's so dark here. Are these things around a maze? Nangjun, the map cannot be opened in this instance, and the coordinates cannot be fed back. Lan Zifeng, so many players came in together, and there are only a few of us nearby. It seems that this instance is randomly teleported. He Yang, it's so dark here. What if some cockroaches run out? Zhao Mu said. He the Buddha saw 48,000 worms when he sipped water. You have tens of thousands of worms when you drink a sip of water. Are you afraid of cockroaches? Yi Jian laughed out loud. You are so naughty. Zhao Mu, Amitabha, benefactor, please don't talk nonsense. I'm not naughty. Liangting, okay, stop talking nonsense. There is movement ahead. Nangjun, as the frontline player in the team, is always paying attention to the movements around him. The moment Liangting reminded him, he also heard the sound at the corner ahead. He stepped forward, approached the wall, and stuck his head out to observe the situation at the corner. Cloud Dragon Skeleton, Race, Void Heart Dragon Clan, Realm, Late God Spirit. The Heart Dragon Clan is a void race under Liang Emperor Milano. Because they lost the suppression of the 6th Dragon Emperor, they were trapped in the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb space for a long time, and fell into madness. Finally, they fell and turned into skeleton creatures. They had no wisdom and their realm was greatly improved. Nangjun said, a void creature in the late stage of the god. Yi Jian drew his sword. Get him. A late stage of the god. I'm afraid of nothing. No mistake. One sentence. One post. One content. 1619. One book. One bar. Take a look. Liangting nodded. With the configuration of our team, if there is no accident, we can indeed deal with him in a short time. Lan Zifeng interrupted. If you don't heal people randomly, there should be no accident. Liangting. Nangjun directly turned on the state. The skin on his body turned slightly red. The blood volume and physical resistance and magic resistance increased significantly. Walked out of the corner and aimed his palm at the cloud dragon skeleton creature, and several sand and gravel appeared out of thin air to trap the void enemy. The Yunlong skeleton creature was instantly startled, and it kept breaking free from the sand and gravel and rushed towards the peasant army. The limitation of the sand and gravel caused the health of the Yunlong skeleton creature to slowly decrease, and its speed could not be increased. Yi Jian rushed forward with the sword blade and shouted broken sword. Swinging the sword in his hand, a sharp sword light hit the Yunlong skeleton creature. While Yunlong was screaming in pain, He Yang rushed in front of Yunlong with a dagger in both hands. Yunlong quickly used the white claws to attack He Yang. The claws of the late stage of the spirit and the surrounding walls were scratched with deep cracks. Seeing the claws reaching He Yang's face, He Yang shouted Shadow Buddha. A second figure of He Yang appeared out of thin air behind Yunlong, and the He Yang in front of Yunlong was directly shattered by the claws. He raised the two daggers and continued to shout furious shock. The two daggers drew a golden and gorgeous special effect and stabbed directly into Yunlong's back. Just this one attack reduced Yunlong's health by 1/10. Just as Yunlong's hatred was being pulled away by He Yang, Zhao Mu stepped forward and pointed his Buddhist staff at Yunlong, shouting, suppress. A huge bell shadow appeared out of thin air above and fell around Yunlong to trap him. He Yang immediately blessed his teammates with various states. Nangjun took advantage of this opportunity to step forward and use hatred skills. Each attack was accompanied by sand and stone special effects and continuous blood loss. When Yunlong's hatred was completely taken away by Nangjun, Yi Jian, Zhao Mu, He Yang, and Lan Zifeng immediately output all their strength to Yunlong. It took less than 10 seconds for Yunlong's huge skeleton body to scatter, and a huge amount of experience, soul value and honor value were fed back to the 6 people. This tacit killing cooperation only caused Nangjun to lose a little blood, and Liangting didn't even have the opportunity to heal her teammates. Chapter 273, Horned Dragon General. Since the 4th transformation, everyone felt the power of the 4th transformation profession so directly for the first time. Usually, they only bullied the overlord level and some non-threatening monsters. He Yang looked at Lan Zifeng and said unhappily, Fog, Lan Zifeng, your burst damage is higher than mine? Lan Zifeng smiled proudly. Of course, my 4th transformation ring explosion profession is the 4th transformation inheritance exclusive to Nissa, and it is different from your common angry Buddha profession. After saying that, he said to Nangjun, your Arhat profession is too resistant. The creatures in the late stage of the gods can only reduce your health by so much. Nangjun smiled. This profession's defense bonus is indeed very high, and each attack has a special effect of continuous blood loss, which is very suitable for me. He Yang glanced around and found that all 5 of his teammates were exclusive 4th transformation professions, and only his 4th transformation profession was a common inheritance. He snorted unwillingly. Zhao Mu stepped forward and patted his shoulder. Forget it, be content. Look at our captain. She is also a special 4th level job. Isn't she also a pit? He Yang thought about it, found it was true, and then let it go. Liangting was full of question marks. When did my 4th level job become a reason to comfort people? Do you think I want to? Exclamation mark. That's because the inheritance of the 6-eared macaque is a pit. Okay. Damn it. Next time I see 6 ears, I will tear off all 6 of his ears. After Zhao Mu finished speaking, he did not forget to look at Liangting, and then found that Liangting was looking at him with a smile on her face, and immediately had a bad premonition. What do you want to do? Liangting did not answer, but raised her hand and directly hit Zhao Mu with star healing. This skill is one of the few skills in Liangting's 4th level job that has a low healing amount. Even if you are unlucky and get a negative health increase from the treatment, it can't heal people to death. Zhao Mu was immediately bathed in a burst of light, and then his health was rubbed off by half. Liangting even muttered, it seems that I'm not very lucky today, so I should add less blood. Although the few people in the team knew that the commander's profession was a pitfall, they had only heard about it from others. Now they were fortunate enough to see such a ridiculous and incredible blood adding skill on the spot, and they were all dumbfounded. As a 4th level bodhisattva profession, Zhao Mu also had blood adding skills, but they were all single blood adding skills, without group blood adding skills. He immediately healed himself to enough blood. He was good at talking nonsense, so he didn't dare to mock Liangting anymore, for fear that a skill would poison his milk powder. He Yan couldn't help laughing and hurriedly interrupted, "Big brother Shan, Nangjun, let's continue to open up the wasteland. Please lead the way." Nangjun nodded wisely, and then left without looking back. Along the way, everyone also figured out the void creatures in the 6th Dragon Emperor's Tomb dungeon. There are 3 types in total, namely Xinlong, which has high attack and fragile skin, and is good at spell attacks. Horned Dragon, which has low attack and thick skin, and is good at physical attacks and blood. The last one is the Yunlong we met at the beginning, which has high attack and high defense, and is a pure physical attack. In theory, the 3 Heart Dragon Void Skeleton creatures will not pose any threat to the team, but there is no clue about the direction in the dungeon. Sometimes you only encounter 1 Heart Dragon, and sometimes you encounter a group of Heart Dragons around the corner. At most, Liangting and the others encountered more than 20 Heart Dragon skeleton creatures gathered together. Several people ran away without saying a word. Just kidding. Even if each of us can fight one alone, we can't beat it. They are all late stage gods. Yi Jian, this dungeon has no clue at all. There is no map, no information, and even the inheritance of the descendants of the arrow god announced by the system before has not dropped a single one. What should we do? No one spoke. Liangting was silent for a while and said, "Let's go offline first and explore tomorrow. The activities in the past 2 days are too energy consuming." Just as everyone was about to go offline, there was a burst of crisp iron chain sounds in the distance. A huge horned dragon appeared. Unlike other horned dragons, this horned dragon's body was twice the size of other heart dragon skeleton creatures. Half of its flesh was rotten and the other half was intact. The whole body was entangled by silver iron chains, and every step was extremely difficult and slow. Horned Dragon General Void Heart Dragon Clan, Realm, Half-Step Holy Spirit. Although several people were not afraid, they also showed surprised expressions. The Heart Dragon Clan of the Half-Step Holy Spirit looks very powerful. This is considered a small boss. Let's kill this guy before going offline. Half-Step Holy Spirit, are you sure you can beat it? Aren't you afraid of being wiped out here? Nangjun looked at Liangting, who nodded. Try it, it should work. Nangjun did not say anything, and directly activated the Arhat profession's strongest state blessing skill Vajra Arhat. The pureed flesh suddenly swelled up, and a huge amount of sand and gravel seeped out of the ground, and rushed towards the Horned Dragon General. Fuck. Naruto? Sandstorm Funeral? Stop talking, let's do it. Liangting became serious, and began to command. Shan, Nangjun, is responsible for stabilizing the hatred, and Leona, Zhao Mu, you are responsible for adding status and blood. I won't add blood, unless it's absolutely necessary. I'll rely on you for the time being. No mistake in one song, one post, one content, 1619, one book, one bar. The Horned Dragon General saw a strange creature appear in front of him, roared angrily, grabbed the iron chain wrapped around him, and smashed it at the creature in front of him. The farmer army dodged with great effort, and the gravel on the ground was directly cut off by the iron chain, and a deep crack was smashed on the ground. Everyone's eyes were fixed. The damage was so high. The farmer army approached the front of the Horned Dragon General. Although it was a small boss, he was not afraid. Mistwind opened fire at full power according to Liangting's instructions, and the ring explosion skills exploded on the Horned Dragon General one after another. Before the farmer army had time to stabilize the hatred, he was snatched by Mistwind. The Horned Dragon General instantly threw out the iron chain and smashed it at Mistwind. The latter was still casting a spell, and didn't have time to stop in the first time. Seeing the iron chain coming, Zhao Mu appeared in front of Mistwind and whispered, "Block it." A transparent square barrier appeared in front of Mistwind, and the iron chain directly broke the barrier and hit Zhao Mu directly, and the latter lost half of his blood instantly. The peasant army breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the bodhisattva profession of the old monk, Zhao Mu, has good defensive skills. He turned around and threw out all the skills that pulled hatred. Each attack came with a superimposed blood loss special effect. As long as the number of attacks was large, the additional hatred and accumulated damage were enough to stabilize this small boss. Because of the lesson of the Stormwind, Yi Jian and Yi Yang did not dare to attack it the first time. This guy's damage was too high. Liang Ting waited for a while and then told everyone that it was almost time to attack. She did not dare to add blood, so the task of healing naturally fell on the old monk, Zhao Mu. Constantly using the attack skills of the 4th level heart life profession, since I can't add blood, but I can help deal damage. Wave Array, Wind Punishment, Heart Chain. One by one, the damage skills were thrown out from Liang Ting's hands. Wave Array caused the Horned Dragon to lose 3611 damage. Wind Punishment caused the Horned Dragon to heal 3908 blood. Heart Chain will heal the Horned Dragon by 398 health points per second for 10 seconds. Teammates collectively. Liang Ting. What the hell? Question mark? Damage skills can also be reversed. Chapter 274. The 4th career change. Liang Ting's teammates found that the health of the Horned Dragon General had increased. They thought it was the Horned Dragon's unique self-healing skill. However, when they opened the damage details, they found that the culprit was actually their captain. They looked at Liang Ting and hesitated to speak. Even the usually reliable peasant army looked at Liang Ting with difficulty. Liang Ting immediately put down her hand, put on a ruthless face and said stubbornly, "What are you looking at? Fight the monsters properly." Everyone was speechless and could only continue to fight with the Horned Dragon General. Zhao Mu was afraid that Liang Ting would continue to make trouble. He stood beside Liang Ting and tried to heal her while persuading her, "Don't do it, I'll heal you." Although Zhao Mu's initial profession was also a priest, he changed his profession to the Guardian direction. Now the 4th level Bodhisattva is not a professional nurse, and the amount of milk can only be one-on-one treatment. Seeing Zhao Mu's struggling expression, Liang Ting was indignant about her 4th level profession and hated the 6-eared macaque even more. Nangjun, Yi Jian, and Yi Yang, the 3 front row, had lost half of their health at this time. In order to prevent Zhao Mu from being too stressed, Yi Jian and Yi Yang would automatically leave the attack range and quietly take drugs after their health dropped to a certain level. After 5 minutes of hard work, the Dragon General gradually lost half of his health. However, the Dragon General then grabbed the silver chain and swept around, dealing huge damage and knocking back. Among the 3 front row, except Nangjun, Yi Jian and Yi Yang were almost killed. The Horned Dragon General repelled the 3 people, and the horn on his head condensed into a ball of light. Everyone immediately had a bad premonition. The ball of light stopped expanding when it reached a radius of 1 meter and suddenly bounced directly towards the 6 people in front of them. Everyone who had been on alert dodged immediately, except Liang Ting, who was annoyed by the characteristics of her profession. After the 5 people barely dodged the light ball, they suddenly found that their captain was squatting in the corner in a daze and shouted hurriedly, "Tailed beast ball? Fuck. What are you doing, Commander? Don't be dazed if you're not fighting. Look behind you. I can't dodge it. I'm going to be killed instantly. Didn't I just say a few words to you? You're not going to give yourself away, are you?" Liang Ting heard the shouts from her teammates behind her, turned around blankly, and then found a huge light ball hitting her. Liang Ting, who was confused, came to her senses. Fuck. The speed of the light ball was no longer dodged at this time. Liang Ting's first feeling was that she was going to be killed instantly, and then she felt fresh. It was the first time that she, as a healer, was killed first. Under the speechless gaze of the 5 people, the light ball directly buried Liang Ting. Okay, congratulations on the end. I can't imagine the ending. Although this dungeon is the same with or without her, I still feel happy to see the commander being killed in 1 second. Aren't you afraid that she will hate you for saying that? After being hit by the skill, she was killed in 1 second. She's offline now, so how could she hear what I said? Just as the 5 people were mourning for Liang Ting, they suddenly found that the light ball did not explode, but gradually became smaller and disappeared. What surprised everyone was that the commander was still squatting in the corner with his hands protecting his head and his eyes closed, as if he was afraid of the attack of the light ball. Liang Ting found that there was no indication of reduced blood volume, so she slowly opened her eyes and saw that her teammates were looking at her in surprise. Oh my god. He didn't get killed instantly? No, even if he didn't get killed instantly, his health should have gone down, right? Not losing a single drop of health. Are you kidding me? Is there a bug? What do you mean? We are fighting to the death, testing the edge of death, but you're fine. After getting hit by a big move, just when they were at a loss, the health of the horned dragon general not far away suddenly dropped. The half-blooded void creature only had 1/5 of its health left. Everyone was stunned for a while, and hurriedly opened the damage details to check. Ethereal flash caused the horned dragon general to lose 38,999 health. Liangting immediately knew that the horned dragon general's big move was rebounded by herself. It turns out that not only the skills you use will rebound, but the damage done by the enemy to you also has a certain chance of rebounding. The hatred of the horned dragon general was suddenly taken away by Liangting, and Liangting seemed to have found the direction of her fourth career change. She laughed and shouted to Zhao Mu, "Old monk, Zhao Mu, add blood to me. See how I kill him in 1 second." The teammates were collectively unbalanced. My goodness, we worked hard for 10 minutes and finally reduced half of the blood volume. She did nothing, and almost killed the boss in 1 second? It's unfair. You still have the nerve to ask you to kill the boss in 1 second, but you killed it in 1 second? The boss killed itself. Okay. Does this mean that in the future, we can just let her take on monsters? Yeah. Damn it. Why didn't I think of it? Just let her be the front row in the future. No mistake. After being severely injured, the horned dragon general was in a trance for a while. Seeing a creature suddenly attacking in front of him, he subconsciously swung out the silver chain in his hand and hit it. Liangting had no defense, rushed forward and was hit by the silver chain, then bounced back again, and the horned dragon general was killed instantly. 5 teammates. Liangting looked at her teammates with pride and suddenly felt a sense of joy of turning over a new leaf. After the horned dragon killed herself, it gave back a large amount of soul value, experience, and honor value. Liangting found that there was a group of golden transparent balls next to the body of the horned dragon general. The descendants of the arrow god have inherited it. After activation, there is a certain chance to obtain the 4th level arrow god profession, which can be traded. Liangting picked up the golden transparent ball and asked her teammates, "Who wants this 4th level arrow god inheritance? If not, I will sell it at the exchange when we get out, and we will split the money." Everyone said no, and kept looking at Liangting speechlessly. Liangting put the arrow god inheritance into her backpack, and asked with a smile knowingly, "What's wrong, looking at me like that?" "Nothing. It's getting late. Let's go offline and rest, and make an appointment to go online together tomorrow morning." "Okay, I'm not in a good state today, and it's a bit painful." Liangting hurriedly tried to keep them. "Don't play for a while. It's still early now." Everyone laughed. Who was the first to suggest going offline just now? "It's early now? Still think we are not pierced deep enough. Wrong, mama didn't pierce you as well as you can." Ignoring the command, everyone chose to go offline. Liangting had no choice but to go offline with a team to rest. After the 6 people disappeared in the 6th Dragon Emperor tomb copy, a dirty creature appeared beside the body of the horned dragon general, squatted down and sniffed the body, muttering to himself, "Is this the smell of Liuwa?" Then he glanced around, feeling the breath of the creatures that broke into the space, and continued to mutter to himself, "Are these all human creatures? After so many years, there are finally creatures coming in. Milano, you have trapped me for so long, you can't hold on, right? Finally, there is a chance to see the light of day again. If I have a chance to get out this time, I must eat roaring sky dog." Chapter 275. Letter to all players on the server. At the deepest part of the 6th Dragon Emperor's tomb, there is a magnificent but dilapidated palace. In the center of the palace, in a nondescript building, made of black bricks, a middle-aged man with a naked upper body and grey hair is taking a nap on a stone bench. There is a through wound on the left side of his chest, and the wound is covered with black and hideous cracks. Black blood occasionally flows out of the wound. The middle-aged man frowns, as if he is enduring the pain caused by the wound all the time. On the wall opposite the middle-aged man, a nondescript young man wearing linen clothes and with long yellow hair is meditating in the corner. When Liangting and his group killed the horned dragon general. The middle-aged man and the young man opened their eyes at the same time, and both showed a little smile on their faces. The middle-aged man on the stone bench asked weakly, "What are you laughing at?" The young man in the corner smiled and said, "My inheritance has been obtained by the human race." The middle-aged man, human race. The young man continued, "My inheritance can only be obtained by the human race, because I come from the human race." The middle-aged man closed his eyes. "Human race setting foot in my space, which means that I'm not far from falling. It seems that my space will become my final grave." The young man stared at the painful creature in front of him. "Jiao has never regarded you as a mortal enemy. As long as you don't interfere in the affairs of the void and Jiao, I believe King Niu will let you go before you fall." The middle-aged man smiled and said, "I do not agree with the fight between the void and Jiao, but if I have to choose between the void and Jiao, I can only choose the void, because I come from the void." The young man stopped talking. The two had repeated these conversations countless times over countless years, and neither of them could convince the other. The middle-aged man continued, "When I fall, it will be the time for you to disappear." The young man, "I would have died anyway if you hadn't still had my heart and soul in you. But it's okay, at least now, I can still see my inheritance being obtained by the human race, and I believe that the human race can learn my magical powers." After the young man finished speaking, he also closed his eyes and said to himself, "This palace has trapped you and me. I can't remember what the world outside the space is like." The middle-aged man smiled and asked, "Do you regret it?" The young man shook his head. "If I had it to do again, I would still bet my heart and soul and strangle you." The middle-aged man, "How ye, among the human race in Jiao, you were the only one who successfully reached the level of killing one corpse, and was able to fight with several dragon emperors in my void. But for a creature like me who has reached the level of killing one corpse, you lost everything you had. Is it worth it?" Hao Yi opened his eyes and looked at the middle-aged man. "It's not worth it. I have never regarded you as an enemy." The middle-aged man was silent, and Hao Yi continued, "When the second dragon emperor escaped because of you, I knew at that time that you had to die in Jiao. Rather than letting you die in the hands of others, I would rather kill you myself. Because I regard you as a friend." The middle-aged man laughed. "This is the first time you have said such a thing in front of me. I didn't expect that I, Milano, could gain your friendship before I fell." Hao Yi continued to close his eyes and said nothing. Milano, the sixth dragon emperor, said, "I still have your last strength in my heart. If you take it back now, I believe you can survive." Hao Yi ignored him, and Milano continued, "Anyway, I'm destined to fall. There is no difference between dying now and dying later." Hao Yi, "Shut up." Milano smiled and stopped talking. That night, Bai Bing was sleeping and had a dream. He dreamed that in an empty place, all the houses collapsed, and there was a raging fire burning around. The sky was reflected in red, and people he knew, and countless strangers fell in a pool of blood. I was observing everything around me alone. My fear and sadness turned into anger. I kept running. I didn't know how long I had been running. The scenery along the way was the same as what I saw at the beginning. I didn't meet a living person. With a scream of fear, Bai Bing woke up and sat up. He gasped and looked around the familiar room, as if nothing had happened. Black and White's voice appeared in my mind. "You have to be mentally prepared." Bai Bing hurriedly asked, "What do you mean?" Black and White, "Your dreams don't appear out of thin air. As my leader, your dreams usually have a meaning, and come with a prophetic function." Bai Bing couldn't accept it. "You mean, the content of my dream may become a reality?" Black and White were silent. Bai Bing didn't get a response, but he already knew what Black and White meant. Bai Bing calmed down for a long time and asked, "Is it because of the void and the abyss?" Black and White, "Yes." Bai Bing, "The environment in the dream is on the blue planet, right? No mistake. One post, one content, one book, one forum, one post." Hebei, "Yes." Bai Bing, "Is there any way to stop it?" Hebei, "I don't know." Bai Bing, "How long will it take to get to the void and the abyss?" Hebei, "Very soon." Bai Bing shouted, "You always say very soon. What about the specific time? Give me an accurate time." Hebei did not respond. No matter how Bai Bing questioned, the only response he got in return was his own echo. That night, Bai Bing couldn't sleep. He turned on the room light and computer, logged into the official website, and watched the carefree speeches of the players on the major servers page after page. He was silent for a long time, and finally wrote a letter to all server players with his ID black and white. Dear players, the 2.0 version of Planet has been updated for a while. Thank you for your support and trust for more than a year. Black and White has been committed to creating a different world with high degree of freedom and real gameplay for players to explore. Next, Planet will focus on updating the 3.0 version. Compared with the battles and gameplay of the world of living things, the difficulty of version 3.0 will increase, and the game and fighting between the world's creatures will be more cruel and bloody. As the home of the human race, facing the invasion of the hostile world, Black and White hopes that players will take it seriously with the responsibility and mentality of defending their country. This is not a game, but a confrontation between all humans and the creatures of the other world, and it is a turning point for the survival of mankind. When one day, the human world has to fight with creatures from other worlds for survival, please believe that Black and White are also working hard with you. Please believe in Black and White, and give Black and White enough confidence. I believe that humans can win this war. Players, please be prepared. Version 3.0 of Planet is about to land. Bai Bing's announcement, or letter, is actually to cheer himself up and relieve himself. Such an unacceptable and horrifying password has been suffocating Bai Bing for a long time. After sending the announcement content to each player, Bai Bing walked to the balcony, looked at the bright moon in the sky, breathed the breeze, tried to touch the fresh air with his hands, and stood there motionless until the sky turned pale. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.